Chapter 1365. In the Broken Kingdom, the light of the heavenly constellation 36 formations had dimmed at some point. Huge battleships that were at least 200 feet long were floating above the original 36 formation node. Countless cultivators were like hard-working bees, going back and forth between the nodes of the formation and the heavenly constellation battleships, moving this powerful soul formation stage formation onto the battleship. At this time, the great cultivators who were in charge also flew onto the battleships and activated their formation plates to check on the situation of the formation. Abbot Ji Yuan patrolled between the battleships and occasionally drew in the chi of heaven and earth to adjust the finer details. At the same time, 8 cultivators stood on a thick spirit cloud in the sky. The burly man in the lead was Lu Kuan, who had entered the Viscera origin stage. Behind him were all the pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators. These 7 pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators did not pay attention to the heavenly constellation battleships below, nor did they observe the demonic mist. Instead, they stared blankly at their palms. In each of their palms, there was a fist-sized ball of golden blood. Not only did it emit a violent will, but it also had a special energy similar to the soul formation stage true essence. After a moment of silence, Emo Qing could not help but ask, "Master Lu, is this the treasure you said could block the attacks of the demon kings?" The other pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators also looked at Lu Kuan. Half a year ago, after Master Lu successfully broke through, he said that he had the power to suppress the demon kings. He also said that he could create a temporary defensive treasure that could block the attacks of the demon kings multiple times, greatly increasing their defense. If they had such a treasure, they could focus most of their energy on attacking. With the help of the heavenly constellation formation and the divine spirit treasure, they could stall or even suppress the 5 demon kings. But these pseudo-soul formation stage cultivators did not expect that the temporary defensive treasure was actually a ball of his blood. Lu Kuan said coldly, "This is the flesh-bone armor unique to body cultivators. Every ball of blood in your hands was refined by Lu at the cost of his primordial spirit. It took me half a year just to recover my primordial spirit. If I did not want to save your lives, we could have started the battle half a year ago." Flesh-bone armor? Condensed from the primordial spirit of a body cultivator? Everyone's expression became even more confused. They could understand the primordial spirit of a body cultivator because it contained the aura of a violent will. However, this was clearly a lump of blood essence. What did it have to do with the armor? Lu Kuan said indifferently, "This blood-bone armor needs to be in contact with the flesh before it can be fully activated. Remove your inner armor first and place it on the back of your neck. Don't use your Jin Yuan and Yuan Shen to repel it. It will turn into an armor and protect your fragile flesh." After hearing Lu Kuan's words, Gu Deming hesitated for a moment. Then, his body flickered with light and he put away his inner armor. Then, he slapped the golden sphere of blood behind his neck. His pupils constricted. He felt countless tiny tentacles stuck to the spine at the back of his neck. Then, a layer of warm liquid surged to his torso and limbs, as if it had a special life. Although Gu Deming was wearing a robe, he did not use his divine sense to conceal it. Everyone could clearly see that a layer of pale golden armor covered his skin like flowing water. This layer of armor seemed to be made of some kind of bone material. It was very hard. There were also curved runes on it that no one had ever seen before. Gu Deming looked at his body with some curiosity. In his perception, this armor was divided into 2 layers. The outer layer was hard bone armor, and the inner layer was soft and elastic flesh. Traces of violent will mixed with the power of qi and blood were concentrated in the flesh layer, while the energy that seemed to be Zhen Yuan was in the bone layer. Gu Deming could clearly feel that whether it was the violent will or the special energy inside, they were of a higher level than his endless vitality and Zhen Yuan. Although the Zhen Yuan in his body was a bit afraid of the energy in the armor, it could still operate freely. His primordial spirit was not affected at all. Just as everyone was observing this layer of golden armor, Lu Kuan's voice came. It contains the special energy of a soul formation realm cultivator. According to Lu's calculation, it can withstand at least 10 attacks from a Devil King. It can even withstand 4 or 5 melee attacks from a Devil Emperor. Those pseudo-soul formation realm cultivators looked at the golden blood mass in their hands suspiciously. How could such a mass of blood have such terrifying defensive power? At this moment, an extremely condensed white halo fist suddenly appeared outside of Gu Deming's body. It hit Gu Deming's chest at lightning speed. Boom! After a loud noise, the robe of this soul formation realm cultivator of the Xian sect was shattered. He stood there with a golden glow. It seemed that this terrifying attack formed by Qi did not affect him at all. At first, everyone was startled by Lu Kuan's condensed essence attack. But after seeing what happened next, they were stunned. He is unharmed? His defensive power is so terrifying? Gu Deming's face under the golden armor was even more surprised. The true essence in his body surged. He waved one hand and a few azure sword Qi formed by essence Qi appeared outside of his body and blasted toward this layer of armor. Clang, clang, clang. After a few crisp sounds, the sword Qi dissipated. The golden bone armor still didn't change, but the true essence energy inside it had decreased a little. Time is of the essence. Put it on. Hearing this, these people no longer hesitated. As for the female cultivators like Beihan Fairy and Shuebihua, even though they were a bit hesitant, they still put this mass of blood on the back of their necks like the others. Then, the skin of every pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivator was covered in the flesh and bone armor. The golden armor on their heads, on the other hand, turned into a grimace that was similar to their appearance under Lu Kuan's control. As long as you communicate with the violent intent at the back of your neck with your primordial spirit, the flesh and bone armor will turn back into a mass of blood. Remember to return it to Lu after the battle. I will go and prepare. When the transfer of the Heavenly Dipper array is done, let me know. Then, the air outside of his body twisted slightly, and he shot up into the sky, disappearing from everyone's sight. These pseudo-soul formation realm cultivators carefully felt Lu Kuan's flesh and bone armor. Although the feeling of flesh and bone against skin was a bit strange, it gave them an inexplicable sense of security. At the edge of the array of a Heavenly Dipper battleship had been completed. Hundreds of core formation realm cultivators were inside the cabin, adjusting the array with a few nascent soul realm cultivators. At the front of the battleship, Yu Longfei and a short old man with blonde hair stood side by side. Behind them stood Dugu Yiming and the 36 disciples of the Heavenly Sword Pavilion. Among these disciples, half of them were body cultivators of the sword body art and half of them were sword cultivators of the demon sword art. They were all mid-stage core formation realm cultivators and didn't participate in the adjustment of the array. Instead, they stood quietly in pairs. The blond old man held a complicated array disc in his hand and said with a bit of regret, "Unfortunately, this Shue's mission this time is to control the array. Otherwise, I would want to fight with these demon bastards myself." Yu Longfei said seriously, "The real threat is still the Demon King realm cultivators. Daoist Shue's battle is much more important than those demon generals. It's just using the array to coordinate with the soul formation realm cultivators. It's not as exciting as fighting personally." The blond old man's eyes flashed with battle intent. "This Shue believes that I am not weak. Last time, I sparred with Brother Yu and there was no clear winner. If I can participate in the battle, I can compete with Brother Yu and see who can kill more demon generals." Yu Longfei shook his head. "This Yu's mission this time is not to deal with the demon generals, but to prevent the demon kings from attacking the Heavenly Dipper battleship." Prevent the demon kings? The blond old man was shocked. He carefully looked at Yu Longfei and said, "Brother Yu, although your cultivation has reached the peak of the great cultivator realm and you have fused with some sharpness, I don't think you can take the attack of a demon king." Yu Longfei said, "If it was any other place, this you wouldn't be able to take the attack of a demon king. But in this metal element array node, this Yu's void spirit sword chi can unleash its full power." The blond old man was in disbelief. Void spirit sword chi. How is that possible? You aren't even a pseudo-soul formation realm cultivator. How can you know the skills of a soul formation realm sword cultivator? Yu Longfei chuckled. This you can only use it a few times with the help of the spirit treasure replica and the pavilion master's skills. It can't be counted as my own cultivation. Other than this there are also fellow cultivators with spirit treasure replicas in the surrounding battleship. They are all guarding against the demon kings. The blond old man was stunned. Then there won't be any great cultivators participating in the battle of the demon generals. Who will deal with the late-stage demon generals? Yu Longfei looked at Dugu Yiming behind him and said proudly, "Of course, the body refining pavilion will deal with them." The blond old man was about to say something, but at this time, the formation plate in his hand suddenly lit up. The other 35 Heavenly Dipper battleships in the distance seemed to be resonating with each other, and colorful restriction lights appeared at the same time. The transfer of the Heavenly Dipper 36 formation is successful. The blond old man looked in the direction of the demon fog and said, "Next, it will be the Soul Formation Realm Senior who will cast the spell to destroy the demon fog." Yu Longfei looked up at the sky and said slowly, "Daoist Shui, it won't be the Soul Formation Realm Senior. It will be our Pavilion Master who will personally destroy the demon fog and open the curtains to the war." "Master Lu? The demon fog is so vast. I heard that it is an illusion array set up by the demon race. How can Master Lu destroy it alone?" The blond old man was confused. He muttered to himself and looked up at the sky along with Yu Longfei. What is that?" At this time, the other cultivators on the Heavenly Dipper battleships also noticed something and looked up. A fiery red meteorite had appeared high up in the sky. The air on its surface was twisted and distorted, and it was surrounded by scorching flames caused by the friction with the air at high speed. Rumble, following the sound of air friction, the spiritual chi of heaven and earth in a radius of several hundred kilometers seemed to be affected by something. It turned into streaks of black and white light and quickly converged toward the meteorite. When the two types of spiritual chi reached a radius of 10 feet from the meteorite, it turned into a pure gold color and exuded an extremely terrifying spiritual chi pressure. The meteorite was dyed golden, and it was as dazzling as the sun in the sky. Buzz! Immediately afterward, a dull explosion sounded. The golden spiritual chi around the meteorite tumbled violently and extended to the sides as if it had grown a pair of wings. 100 feet, 200 feet, 400 feet, 600 feet. In 1 or 2 breaths of time, 2 extremely solid golden saber auras grew out from the 2 sides of the meteorite. Then, a terrifying force surged out from the meteorite and began to rotate on its own. The 2 huge saber auras spiraled, and as the meteorite fell, it rotated faster and faster. In the blink of an eye, it turned into a golden whirlwind with a diameter of more than 120 feet. The air and golden halos were twisted inside, and it contained an extremely terrifying stirring force. Wherever it passed, cracks appeared in the space. The thousands of cultivators on the 36 battleships were all silent as they stared blankly at the colossal object in the sky. This golden meteorite whirlwind seemed to have come from beyond the 9 heavens, dragging a thick blue tail flame behind it as it fell into the thick demon fog. Chapter 1366. In the depths of the demonic fog, the small valley near the spatial passageway had disappeared and was replaced by a huge city that stretched for more than 10 miles. This city was divided into 2 layers. The outer layer was covered by a black stone wall that seemed to be built directly from the ground. There were special demonic runes engraved on it that flashed with demonic light. When the nearby demonic fog approached, it would surge upward and form a semicircular demonic fog shield above the city. It was filled with purplish-black energy that emitted a mysterious power that made people sleepy. The inner layer of the city was a formation that was more than 100 feet in diameter. There were more than 20 purplish-black stone houses inside. These stone houses were located at the nodes of the formation and were all wrapped in dense demonic chi. In the center of the formation, near the spatial passageway, there was a sacrificial altar that was built with step. 8 demons stood on top of it in 2 circles, forming a double circular formation. 4 demon emperors stood in the inner circle, and a demon king stood in the outer circle behind them. There was a distorted force field between them, and deep purple lightning was rolling inside. It seemed that they were cultivating some kind of joint secret technique. Suddenly, a stone house not far away trembled, and a strong sense of brutality surged out. The nearby demonic vitality seemed to be attracted and turned into balls of black light that gathered toward it. The high-level demons on the sacrificial altar sensed this scene and looked over. Shui Feng successfully broke through? Among the 9 peak late-stage demon kings, 2 have successfully broken through. If there are 2 more, we will have 8 demon kings. At that time, we won't have to be afraid of that 3-headed, 6-armed monster. While the demons were talking, the surrounding demonic vitality became more and more turbulent. Countless black halos surged out of the demonic fog outside the city and madly gathered here. Even the sound of wind and thunder could be heard in the air. It sounded like the sound of the overly turbulent demonic vitality. The surrounding demonic fog was also rolling. This movement is a little too big. Strange, it's clearly an ordinary demon king breaking through. Why is the nightmare fog stirred? Suspicion flashed in the eyes of the demon emperors as they looked at the churning purplish-black demonic fog outside the city. It seemed that the dream demon formation had been stimulated by the gathering of demonic essence. Just as they were wondering what was going on, the spatial tunnel behind them lit up with waves of blue light. The countless spatial cracks in the distant demonic fog also shone brightly like the stars in the sky. Not long after, the dense demonic fog that shrouded the city dimmed at a speed visible to the naked eye. The drowsy aura above it also rapidly declined. Not good. This is a sign that the nightmare mist is losing its effect. How is that possible? Calculating the time, only a few days have passed in the demon world. Lord Demon Sovereign couldn't have removed the mirage plate. Just as the demon emperors turned pale with fright, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble, and the demonic mist began to churn violently like giant waves in the sea. The initial sound of wind and thunder had now turned into a continuous roar, as if some kind of violent wave of air had rushed into the demonic mist. What the hell happened? The 8 high-level demons couldn't care less about the demon king who was in the midst of a breakthrough. The totem patterns on their foreheads lit up with bursts of light as they probed outside with their divine senses. Because the nightmare formation was rapidly fading, its power was greatly reduced. Their divine senses had been probing hundreds of miles away. When they saw the scene in the demonic mist, they were all stunned. At the core of the violently churning demonic mist, there was a golden whirlwind that was at least 100 feet long. It was attacking the demonic mist, exuding a terrifying pressure of primordial chi. The twisting force of the whirlwind twisted the space behind it, and spatial cracks were torn open. Wherever it passed, whether it was the spatial cracks in the demonic mist or the space torn by the golden whirlwind, they were all smoothed out by the twisting force field it emitted. Moreover, it also had some kind of terrifying suction force, followed by a white halo behind it. Spiritual primordial chi was like a giant wave that rushed into the demonic mist. When the demon emperors and demon kings were about to use their divine senses to probe the golden whirlwind, they immediately felt an extremely violent will impact them, as if they had hit a solid wall of will. Violent will. Golden primordial chi, it's that monster. This guy is using the limit of the realm's power and force field characteristics to smooth out the spatial cracks. More than 30% of the spatial cracks have collapsed, and the nightmare formation has completely dissipated. He found us. We have to stop him. Go, use the twin star battle formation that we cultivated. As their divine senses surged, the 8 demon race powerhouses maintained a double circle formation. The force field around them rolled, drawing in the surrounding dense primordial chi, forming an oval purple-black escape light that shot into the distance. As the distance between the two sides closed, the golden whirlwind gradually became clear in the eyes of the demon emperors that were shining with purple light. In the middle of the whirlwind there was a burly humanoid creature that was spinning at high speed. Pure golden primordial chi covered an area of 3 feet around its body, and each of its hands was holding a golden saber. The 2 sabers were like top-grade demonic artifacts. From both ends of the saber extended a condensed long-range force field, fusing with the primordial chi to form 2 golden primordial chi sabers that were 60 feet long. Under the astonishing spinning speed of the humanoid creature, the 2 sabers, one in front and one behind, spun in a spiral, attacking the spatial cracks in the demonic fog with the largest attack range. The spinning humanoid creature seemed to have discovered the approaching demon race. The spiral sabers turned around, and the 120 feet long spiral attack became a sideways attack at this time. Every time the terrifying golden sabers slashed down, waves of spatial ripples would be created, and blue spatial power would ripple. It was like a destructive saber wheel, cutting towards them. Twin star battle formation, fuse with the demonic artifacts, attack the side. Demon Emperor Luoyu, who was leading the group, saw this and said with a grave expression. The demon race's formation quickly changed. The double circle became one above and one below. The 4 demon emperors each stood on the shoulders of a demon king. The force fields of both sides intertwined, and the passive force field of each combination grew to 9 feet. Immediately after, a demonic artifact appeared in the hands of each demon emperor. Unlike the various weapons before, this time there were 4 identical war hammers. They raised the hammers above their heads at the same time, and 4 primordial chi hammer shadows appeared. Under the intertwining of rich purple lightning energy, they moved to the center of the circle and fused together in the blink of an eye, turning into a giant hammer of light that was at least 30 feet long and surrounded by purple lightning. Then the 4 demon emperors raised their hands and spun a circle above their heads. They aimed at the spiral sabers and hammered them from the side. The golden spiral sabers seemed to react very quickly. The vertical spiral saber light was directly tilted by 90 degrees and collided with the solid war hammer. Boom! A dazzling black-gold halo bloomed, and the nearby space was like a spider web. Dense blue cracks appeared and were constantly being flattened by the twisting force field. The golden saber seemed to carry a powerful force, and it opened a gap on the war hammer. Immediately after, the second golden saber bombarded and enlarged the gap. The muscles of the 4 demon emperors and demon kings were trembling, especially the 4 demon emperors. Their hands tightly gripped the war hammer, and the deep purple energy in their bodies was tumbling. The 300 feet long primordial chi war hammer seemed to be supported by some kind of energy. The gap quickly solidified, and with its powerful recovery ability, it resisted the spiral slash of the golden sabers. The purplish-black hammer shadows became more and more dazzling, but the golden saber light became dimmer and dimmer. After a few rounds, the 2 60-feet-long golden saber lights completely shattered. The burly man with the dual sabers seemed a little surprised when he saw this scene, but before he could do anything, the purplish-black hammer shadow suddenly exploded. The twisting force field mixed with the deep purple lightning seemed to teleport, wrapping around the burly man's body. Immediately after, the 8 high-level demons had already arrived around the burly man, and their positions changed back to the original inner circle. The Demon King's hands were pressed against the Demon Emperor's backs, and the force fields of the several demons intertwined, turning into a distorted circular cage with a radius of nearly 10 feet, trapping the burly man inside. This force field cage seemed to isolate the demon spirit's primordial chi. The golden light on the burly man's body disappeared, leaving only the passive force field, resisting the shrinking of the cage. No one could gain the upper hand. It's a success. The double-star battle array combined the primordial spirit and demonic chi to simulate a spatial seal. He can't absorb the primordial chi. How can this guy have the power of a mid-stage demon emperor in this form? There is only a kind of violent will in his body. The unyielding will and resentment are gone. What about the 3 heads 6 arms divine ability? These demons exchanged a few words with each other, and suddenly found that the burly man's body was surging with monstrous chi and blood. A golden light emerged from under his skin, and the force field emitted a golden luster. Not good, this guy still has primordial chi energy in his body. The 4 demon emperors' faces changed, and they quickly stabilized the force field. Under the golden force field of the burly man, although the circular cage did not collapse, it tumbled in the air. We can still trap him. Pull back the altar and use the power of the demon array to suppress him. Okay. Wait, there is movement in the distance. What's that? Right at this moment, the 8 demon emperors suddenly looked toward the east. They saw that at the edge of the thin demonic mist, there were dozens of enormous battle arcs. There were colorful restrictive light screens tumbling between them, and there were many human figures on each of the battle arcs. These battle arcs had formed some kind of special formation, and there were 6 terrifying auras being nurtured within them. Human cultivators? Why are they suddenly attacking? This guy looks like a human. Is he a human cultivator? This seems to be the human race's 36 heavenly astral formation. Although its aura is a lot weaker than it was 700 years ago, there are at least 6 types of soul formation initial stage powers inside. This monster has destroyed the demonic mist and entangled us. The rest of our people can't stop this human formation. The demon emperors were immediately troubled. They had thought that this monster with 3 heads and 6 arms was a creature from the spirit realm that had accidentally entered this realm. However, looking at this formation, even if this guy was not a human, he had most likely formed an alliance with them. Demon Emperor Luo, you looked at the burly man standing against them and said in a solemn voice, "The only thing we can do now is to stall this monster while you organize your people to break through the human race's heavenly astral formation." One of the demon kings couldn't help but say, "But Master Luo, you, without us, bring out a quarter of your primordial spirits. Although your powers have decreased slightly, you should be able to take on the human race with the help of Xuefeng and Qishur, 2 new demon kings." "Yes, Master." The 4 demon kings each materialized a fist-sized ball of purplish-black light in their hands upon hearing this. They struck the 4 demon emperors in the chest before flying toward the demon tribe city down below. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the burly man's golden force field abruptly swelled, expanding the circular cage around them by a foot or 2. Although it was still unable to break free, the massive force behind it caused the cage to twist left and right before tumbling off into the distance. Chapter 1367. In a strange place far away from the world of cultivators, there was a thick black fog that extended for thousands of miles. A large amount of dark purple lightning flashed inside the fog, fusing with the thick fog and faintly forming a huge humanoid lightning creature. Around the giant creature, there were 8 tall demons in bone-spiked demon armor with totem patterns. Their bodies were shining with a rich dark purple halo, as if they were casting some kind of spell. In the air above the head of the lightning creature, there were 3 demons standing in the air. One of the male demons was wearing a robe. He looked short and not strong at all. His face was covered with totem patterns, and there was a pair of black vertical pupils that emitted a soul-stirring light. The other male demon was tall and sturdy. He was more than 3 meters tall. He wore a purple-black armor and had a bald, square face. He had a sharp beard on his chin, and half of his head was covered in purple-black totems. The last one was a female demon. She was tall, with tight light purple skin wrapped in a purple armor. The totem patterns on her face extended from the side of her face to her long hair behind her ears. These 3 demons were the 3 demon lords of the demon realm. Rich dark purple lightning energy was surging in their bodies, and it was constantly injected into a disk in the middle that was surrounded by distorted air. After an unknown period of time, the 3 demon lords seemed to have sensed something and opened their eyes almost at the same time. At this time, countless blue lights lit up in the thick black fog around them. The huge thunder creature in the fog showed a painful expression. The dark purple lightning that made up its body began to tremble, as if its body was about to collapse at any time. The collapse of the space crack, is it the power of the realm? Impossible. The power of the mirage disk is completely within the scope of the small realm. It can't cause a backlash from the realm. Could it be that the realm's limit exists and forcibly smooths out the space crack? Even the peak of the middle stage demon king can't do this. Only the middle stage demon emperor can distort space in a very small range with the help of the force field. The realm repels creatures from other worlds, so Luo Yu and the others can't break through. Is it the creature that seems to be from the spirit realm? It has the force field of a demon emperor? Speaking of this, the 3 demon sovereigns' expressions couldn't help but change. Demon sovereign All Heaven's face sank as he said, "Due to the spatial turbulence and boundary suppression, we can't contact the sacred race disciples inside. We have to consider the worst-case scenario." The tall female archfiend narrowed her eyes and said, "The worst-case scenario is that the creature suspected to be from the spirit realm has the magical power of a middle-stage archfiend. Moreover, it has joined forces with the human race to deal with our archfiend army and seal the space channel. Breaking the nightmare formation is the first step of the war." The short demon Venerable snorted coldly and said, "Luo Yu, what do we do now? We have spent so many resources and even stopped the war with the Star Soul race. We have to take down this small realm." The All-Heaven Devil Celestial looked at them and slowly said, "If we forcibly use our spells, we will have to face the backlash of the realm force. When we opened the channel, you and I were slightly injured. If we continue, I'm afraid it will take us hundreds of years to heal." The short demon Venerable said in a deep voice, "We have already stopped the war with the spirit realm. There won't be a war for the next 1,000 years. Even if we are injured, it won't affect anything." The tall female archfiend slowly said, "When those insects heard that this Venerable wanted to see their spatial node, they directly closed the space channel to the holy world. The nether insect race won't harass us for the time being." Demon Sovereign All Heaven slowly said, "If that's the case, then we will do our best." "Good. All demon sovereigns, listen to my orders. Change the formation again." When the 8 demon sovereigns heard this, they began to change positions. A terrifying energy pressure soared into the sky, and the speed at which the vast expanse of demonic fog collapsed rapidly. In the Broken Kingdom, more than half of the dark purple demonic fog near the space channel had receded. The sky within 1,000 miles of the Broken Kingdom had returned to its original appearance. There were even fewer spatial rifts in the sky. Suddenly, the last wisp of dark purple fog gushed out from the remaining spatial rifts, stopping the demonic fog that was about to collapse. However, after that, the spatial rifts stopped moving, and only pure demonic chi flowed out. A large amount of dense white spiritual chi flowed in along with the huge wave of spiritual yuan, mixing with the remaining demonic fog and demonic chi, forming a vast area of black and white fog. The 4 demon kings who had returned to the demon race's city were pleasantly surprised when they saw this scene. The nightmare fog hasn't completely disappeared? It must be Lord Demon Sovereign casting a spell. Although the illusory aura inside is much weaker, it still contains pure demonic chi. It's still suitable for our sacred race to fight. At this time, a male demon flew out from the altar array in the inner city. A force field of 3 feet surged around him, and his body emitted dense demonic chi. He was the Demon King who had just broken through half a year ago, Weeping Stone. On the ground below him, there were 16 Demon Kings. They had bone spikes and thick scales, and their demonic chi was thick. These late-stage demon generals were spontaneously standing guard outside the stone house that was absorbing demonic origin energy. Weeping Stone arrived in front of the 4 demon kings. As he watched the 4 demon emperors disappear from his field of vision, there was a trace of fear in his eyes. He said, "Shwe-man, that human-looking fellow just now, could he be that monster that required the aid of you to join forces?" A powerful-looking female demon king heard this and said with a dignified expression, "Luoyue and the others can only temporarily trap him. Only by pulling that fellow into the altar will we be able to deal with him. Time is of the essence. We need to defeat the humans as quickly as possible and then go back to support them." "But Shwe-fong is making a breakthrough," Shwe-man coldly said. "There's no other way. We have to wait for him to absorb enough demonic origin energy. During this time, his primordial spirit should have been half-formed, and he should be able to fight. The strongest human powerhouse is only at the pseudo-divine transformation realm. Disciples of the sacred race, quickly assemble." Under the orders of the several demon kings, the stone house in the middle stopped absorbing demonic origin energy. The fluctuations of demonic origin energy and brutality within began to rapidly converge. 16 late-stage demon generals flew out in all directions. Under their organization, squads of demons were gathered together. In this half a year, not only did this group of demons gain 2 new demon kings, but they also gained 3 more late-stage demon generals. There were also a dozen or so demon soldiers that broke through to the demon general realm. They were divided into 16 teams, each team led by a late-stage demon general. There were 9 early and middle-stage demon generals, and 37th-level demon soldiers. Each demon cultivator held a hammer, axe, saber, and other giant weapons in their hands, all of them brimming with killing intent. Then, under the leadership of the 6 demon kings, this army of over 600 elite demons flew towards the distant human battleship. In the human camp, in the skies above the astral heaven battleships, 7 pseudo-divine transformation powerhouses and Abbot Ji Yuan floated high in the air. Although the surrounding demonic fog hadn't completely dissipated, it didn't affect their divine sense. When they saw that Lu Kuan was stopped by 8 demon race experts, they couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. "Master Lu should be fine, right? He seems to be trapped by the other party." "It seems like he is trapped, but both sides are evenly matched. Master Lu should be in the lead. Otherwise, he wouldn't have followed the plan and brought these demon emperors away from the battlefield." These pseudo-divine transformation powerhouses discussed and analyzed, and their expressions finally relaxed. "Fortunately, we attacked at this timing." The anomaly in the depths of the demonic fog just now is clearly the birth of another demon king. The breakthrough anomaly was interrupted. Although his primordial spirit and demonic origin energy aren't at their peak, his strength shouldn't be underestimated. "Abbot Ji Yuan, you can only stay with us. Otherwise, with our strength, it's not safe to deal with 6 demon kings." "Great spiritual Lord Buddha, this old monk will do his best. Everyone, pay attention. The demons are on the move." There are many late-stage demon generals. It's a little different from what Master Lu had scouted. It seems like many demons have broken through during this period. All cultivators, pay attention. Follow the plan and activate the heavenly astral 36 formations. Following these pseudo-divine transformation powerhouses' orders, the 36 heavenly astral battleships lit up with spiritual light and descended toward the ground. Boom, boom, boom. Following a series of low rumbles, these battleships were like mini mountains as they crashed to the ground, sending out shockwaves. Each battleship was a node of the spell formation, and 6 battleships gathered together to form a giant spell formation. Under the control of the powerful cultivators, the dense restrictive power resonated with one another. 6 types of special energy waves surged in all directions, and the vital energy of heaven and earth from hundreds of kilometers away converged at an astonishing speed. The extremely dense white vital energy dispersed as it approached the heavenly astral 36 formations. It turned into colorful halos of light and gathered above the spell formation of the giant battleships, forming 6 dense vital energy clouds. Golden, earthy yellow, ice crystal, fiery red, light green, and purple. 6 different colored vital energy clouds tumbled and tumbled. More and more terrifying vital energy manifested and exuded from them, as if they were nurturing some kind of terrifying spell. Chapter 1368. Just as these 6 vital energy clouds surged, 6 types of spell techniques appeared in the spell formation area below them. Below the fiery red vital energy clouds, there were massive rings of flame wreaths that surrounded the 6 battle arcs at the very bottom. These rings of flame wreaths stacked on top of one another and connected with the vital energy clouds in the air. Below each of the other vital energy clouds, there were also spell techniques of similar nature. There were crystalline ice snowflakes, azure whirlwinds, purple lightning, yellow sand, and specks of golden mist. They enshrouded the 6 spell formation nodes and exuded unique energy fluctuations as they absorbed the surrounding vital energy of heaven and earth. Chirp! The crisp cry of a bird suddenly reverberated between heaven and earth. A fiery bird constructed from a fiery red halo rushed out from one of the vital energy cloud. Every single feather on its body was clearly visible, and there seemed to be a series of intricate runes circulating within them. Powerful vital energy manifested from its body, and it hurtled toward the demon tribe army in the distance at an astonishing speed. It's only at the soul formation initial stage with the help of the spell formation. The humans here are even weaker. The blood barbarian demon king flew at the forefront of the demon tribe army, and he harumphed coldly at the sight of the fiery bird flying out from the spell formation. He raised the giant axe in his hand, and a rich black light exuded from its surface before materializing into a substantial axe blade. He leaped into the air, and stepped on the twisted air beneath his feet before bringing his axe down upon the fiery bird. Boom! Fiery vital energy and demonic vital energy resonated with one another, and the fiery bird was disintegrated into specks of spiritual light by the demonic axe. Following the appearance of the fiery bird, a series of powerful spell techniques also surged forth from the other clouds one after another. From the Earth-type vital energy cloud, a mountainous, square-shaped seal flew out. Not only was it imbued with Earth-type vital energy, but it was also imbued with a terrifying sense of heaviness. From the ice-type cloud, there was an ice phoenix that was similar to the fiery bird from before, and it was flapping its spiked ice crystal wings. From the golden cloud, there was a weapon that appeared to be a golden halberd. There were sharp short blades on both sides of the halberd, and there was a sharp sword tip at the front, exuding a powerful aura of sharpness. The final 2 vital energy clouds were a lightning hammer formed from a ball of lightning, and a giant wind blade that resembled a crescent moon. In the face of these powerful vital energy spells, the 6 demon kings that had already flown out of the spell formation all raised their demonic artifacts and met the onslaught with their powerful force field abilities. Aside from the demon king that had just made a breakthrough and was barely able to shatter the vital energy wind blade, the other demon kings appeared quite relaxed. But soon after, their expressions became serious. In the distant clouds, Powerful spells emerged one after another. When the first wave arrived in front of the devils, the second wave was already on the way, and even the third wave was about to be born. It was as if there was no gap between them. One after another, they continuously rushed towards the devil army. The demon kings had originally planned to attack the battleships on the ground, but they did not expect the elemental energy spells to be cast at such an astonishing speed. However, if they did not block them, the demon generals behind them would not be able to withstand such a terrifying attack. They want to consume our devil aura with long-distance spells? Humph, they are just 7 pseudo-semi-god realm warriors. Even if they have the help of the formation, so what? Human semi-god realm warriors are too weak. Let's go over. The other demon generals try to destroy the nodes of the spell formation. After Blood Barbarian Demon King finished speaking, he led the other 5 demon emperors and flew toward the 5 vital energy cloud. As they flew, they waved the demonic artifacts in their hands and bombarded the onslaught of powerful spells. Although the group of pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators had borrowed the power of the spell formation and could continuously cast vital energy spells, they could not leave the core of the spell formation because of the spell formation. When Fire Spirit Supremacy and the others saw the demon kings that were getting closer and closer, they were not surprised. The demon king's advantage was in close combat. Naturally, they would not attack from a distance. Follow the plan. Trap the demon kings. All right. Following Fire Spirit Supremacy's voice transmission, the pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators' vital energy surged. They held a spell disc in one hand and formed a spell in the other. They stared at the demon kings that were flying toward them. Wait until they reach the height of the vital energy cloud. Almost there. Be careful. They are speeding up. Now. Seeing the 6 demon kings fly into the sky, the pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators loosened the spell in their hands. The vital energy clouds around them suddenly trembled violently. The clouds that represented the wind, thunder, and ice attributes quickly sank. Dense tricolored halos spread out. In the blink of an eye, a vast cloud of ice and thunder was formed under everyone's feet. At the same time, the other 3 vital energy clouds flashed above their head. They mixed into a vast reddish-yellow cloud. One above and one below. 2 thick layers of vital energy clouds intertwined at the edge. It was like a sealed oval sphere that stretched for dozens of miles. It trapped the pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators and the 6 demon kings inside. The 8 cultivators in the middle were surrounded by a thick layer of 6-colored light shield. They looked at the demon kings that were a bit stunned. Their hands did not stop moving. One after another, Dharma treasures that emitted a shocking aura shot out and attacked those demon kings. More than 80 years ago, Fire Spirit Supremacy and the others were fighting in the demonic fog. They were in a passive position. Now, with the help of the heavenly spirit formation, they had pulled the demon kings into this cloud that was filled with spiritual vital energy. They used all their skills. Other than the divine spirit treasures, the vital energy clouds around them also released terrifying spells from time to time. Boom, 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 following a series of explosions and terrifying waves, the 8 human cultivators and the 6 demon kings engaged in a fierce battle within the heavenly spirit formation. As the demon kings were trapped by the heavenly spirit formation, the cultivators on the battleships below were very excited. But then, they realized that the heavenly spirit formation seemed to have changed. The oval-shaped vital energy clouds in the sky had divided the formation into 2 layers. The vital energy of heaven and earth within a radius of hundreds of miles was directly converging toward the upper layer of the formation. Under the suppression of the spiritual vital energy on the upper layer, the demonic fog and demonic chi in this area were all pushed down to the ground. It was more than 100 feet thick, almost reaching the deck of the heavenly spirit battleship. At this moment, the lower layer of the heavenly spirit formation was like a sea of demonic fog. The 36 battleships were divided into 6 groups, floating on the sea. There were 6 protective spell pillars in each group. These spell pillars not only isolated the demonic fog, but also supported the vital energy clouds in the air. When the cultivators probed the demonic fog with their spiritual sense, their expressions changed. The remaining demonic fog had no effect on deity formation cultivators, but when nascent soul cultivators probed it with their spiritual sense, they felt a sense of drowsiness. They looked into the distance and saw that the 16 groups of demon race cultivators had disappeared. They had clearly entered the demonic fog. Be careful, the demon race will definitely concentrate their forces on one area. Increase the defensive spell and help each other at any time. Don't leave the battleships so easily. Be careful of the demon race's sneak attack from the demonic fog. The nascent soul cultivators communicated through special voice transmission talismans. They all raised their spiritual power, and many even took out their magic treasures, ready to fight at any time. Time slowly passed. The demonic fog below slowly drifted, making it impossible to see where the demon race troops were or which battleship they were planning to attack. The cultivators could only wait for an opportunity to strike. All of a sudden, the demonic fog near the ice element formation began to tumble. Hundreds of deep purple lights flashed within. Over here! They're about to attack. Quick, support them. Although there were only 9 nascent soul cultivators on this battleship, the surrounding 5 battleships immediately came to their aid. Dozens of magic treasures were controlled by the nascent soul cultivators and shot over from afar. At the same time, the ice crystals and snowflakes in the sky turned into a burst of icy fog and rushed towards the demonic fog. Whoosh, 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 the sound of air being torn apart sounded. The expected demon generals did not appear. Instead, they were replaced by hundreds of black demonic arrows. The sky was filled with colorful magic treasures, mixed with the radiance of various spells, and clashed with the demonic arrows. Boom, 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 violent explosions sounded. When the arrows struck the magic treasures or spells, they directly exploded. Countless destructive auras soared into the sky. Many cultivators' expressions changed slightly. They felt that their magic treasures were greatly impacted. The weaker magic treasures even had their spirituality damaged. Fortunately, due to the appearance of body cultivators in the past few decades, the immortal cultivation world had changed the way to control magic treasures. When magic treasures were hit by heavy attacks, their minds were not affected and they were not injured. At this time, the demonic fog below rippled under the violent impact of the spells, revealing the scene inside. The 16 teams of demon race troops had already split up. The late-stage demon generals stood at the front while the rest of the demon generals stood at the 2 sides of the battleship. If any cultivators flew over to support them, they would most likely be ambushed. The demon soldiers all stood behind the late-stage demon generals. They were in groups of 3, forming a strange circular formation. Each group of demon soldiers held a giant crossbow together. One was stuck in the crossbow, while the other 2 pulled the string. Crystal-clear black arrow was placed on the crossbow. These demon soldiers used their physical strength while injecting demonic energy into the giant crossbow. The mysterious demonic patterns on the arrows lit up. As these demon soldiers released their hands, they launched the second round of powerful demonic arrows. The demon race's attacks were almost instantaneous. The cultivators only intercepted a portion of the arrows. The rest bombarded the defensive spiritual light outside the battleship, dimming it a lot. When the 100-odd demon generals saw that they could not ambush the cultivators, they waved their giant weapons and rushed out of the demonic fog. They surrounded the battleship as if they wanted to break through its defenses in one fell swoop. Chapter 1369. At this moment, on a nearby battleship, Lu Jinyuan's robe swelled up, and a crescent-shaped ice blade floated in front of him. A 10-meter-long crescent-shaped ice blade shot out. Not only was the ice blade extremely fast, but it was also constantly absorbing the icy yuan qi in the surroundings. In the blink of an eye, it emitted a circle of dense icy blue halo, and a terrifying yuan qi materialized pressure spread out. Although there was a late-stage nascent soul cultivator in the cabin of each of the 36 Heavenly Dipper battleships, they were all in charge of the Heavenly Dipper formation and could not come out to fight. Fortunately, there was a peak-stage cultivator in each of the 6 nodes of the formation. With the help of the Divine Spirit Treasure replica in their hands and the rich yuan qi of heaven and earth in the nodes of the formation, they could unleash powerful attacks that were not inferior to pseudo-deity transformation stage cultivators. They could guard against the casual attacks of the Fiend Kings at any time. The great cultivator who was guarding the node of the ice formation was the sect master of Northern Yuan sect, Lu Jin Yuan. When he saw the fiend army launching a terrifying attack under the cover of the demonic fog, he decisively activated the Spirit Treasure replica and unleashed the yuan qi materialized attack. Although the group of fiend generals who had just flown out of the demonic fog were somewhat surprised, they did not panic at all. 5 late-stage fiend generals flew out of the team and waved their weapons that were shining with dazzling demonic light to meet the yuan qi materialized ice blade. Boom! Intense icy yuan qi and fiend yuan qi overflowed in all directions. The huge yuan qi ice blade broke inch by inch and collapsed into fierce yuan qi waves that rolled in all directions. The 5 late-stage fiend generals staggered back in the wave. Their weapons and scales were covered with a layer of frost, but judging from their auras, they did not seem to be injured. But at this moment, the demonic fog beside them suddenly rolled and a golden figure rushed out. It was a golden-haired little monkey with 4 ears. Its 2-feet-tall body rapidly expanded as it rushed out. In the blink of an eye, it doubled in size and turned into a 5-feet-tall golden ape. Its arms also doubled in size and were thicker than its legs. Accompanied by the 3 terrifying wills of resentment, brutality, and madness, the fiend yuan qi in the surrounding demonic fog gathered and formed a 3-feet-tall black fiend ape illusion behind it. Immediately after, the golden ape took a deep breath and its chest swelled up. Then, it raised its deformed and thick monkey fist and hammered it on its chest. The devil ape illusion behind it turned into a halo vortex and entered the ape's mouth. Long-arm fiend ape. How is this possible? Not good, be careful of Sky Roar. The demon generals seemed to have recognized the demonic ape illusion. Their expressions changed drastically as they stopped charging at the battleship. They used their bodies as shields to block the hundreds of demon soldiers behind them. Roar! The fiend ape illusion, the fiend ape illusion, the fiend army, fiend of the fiend of the fiend ape. The first to bear the brunt of the attack were the 5 late-stage fiend generals who blocked the ice blade yuan qi. They had not stabilized their bodies, and under the impact of the terrifying sound wave, they swayed even more violently. As for the hundreds of fiend generals behind them, it was unknown whether they were prepared or for some other reason, but their bodies only staggered and their muscles were sore. As for the fiend soldiers on the ground, they were not hurt at all. The fiend generals felt all of this and were a little stunned. Legend had it that the sky roar of the long-arm fiend ape could severely injure the body of a fiend king. Only the fiend emperor could withstand it, but why were they not hurt? The power of this sky roar is not as terrifying as the legends say? This is not a fiend king level fiend ape. But just as the fiend generals were in a daze, the little golden-haired monkey that released the sky roar had unknowingly appeared under a late-stage fiend general and grabbed his ankle with its thick arms. At the same time, the fiend fog below suddenly trembled and several incomparably sturdy figures rushed out. These people were extremely fast, leaving behind afterimages in the air. The leader was a bald, horse-faced man. It was Hong Yuntian. His expression was cold as he scuttled behind a late-stage fiend king in the air and wrapped his arms around his neck. His palms that looked like two humans turned into twisted black tentacles that rushed into the Fiend General's mouth and ears. Following that, a formless force field spread out from his body and bound his huge body. What kind of monster is this? The late-stage Fiend General felt that the black tentacles that entered his mouth seemed to have grown countless teeth and were constantly gnawing at his flesh. His eyes flashed with fear of the unknown. Before he could do anything, he was swept into the fiend fog by this monster with tentacles. On the other side, a golden sword light flashed and Huang Xiaoyun appeared in front of a late-stage Fiend General. His arms locked the other party's arms. Light flashed from his soft ribs and the spirit-devouring Yiksha Corpse King rushed out from his soft ribs to help him lock the Fiend General's legs. Serene and the other 4 Corpse Kings that appeared at the same time surrounded 2 late-stage Fiend Generals. Millions of gene of strength came from their arms. These 5 late-stage Fiend Generals had just collided with the Yuan Qi Ice Blade and were hit by the Sky Roar. Whether it was their physical body or Fiend Qi, they were all in a state of weakness. The Fiend cultivators that rushed out of the Fiend fog ruthlessly dragged them into the Fiend fog below. In addition, Li Qianfeng, Gao Yong, Duan Yun, Hu Qian, and Zhao Qiming, the 5 Fiend cultivators, grabbed the ankles of the nearest early-stage Fiend Generals with lightning speed and dragged them down with the help of their physical body's source strength. The surrounding Fiend race was shocked by this scene. Such terrifying strength, could it be the Fiend race? Why do they have the Fiend King force field ability outside their bodies? These thoughts flashed through their minds. Many of the Fiend race's scales had goosebumps. The remaining 11 late-stage Fiend Generals seemed to have sensed something and looked at the metal element formation more than 30 miles away. A skinny old man stood quietly at the front of the battleship. A green jade ruler floated in front of him. Countless metal chi sword lights converged on the jade ruler. 2 strands of sword chi, one green and one gold, were intertwined inside. There was also a thick dark golden blood chi mixed in. These energies converged into a green-gold halo sword. Then, the air around it distorted slightly, and the Yuan Qi sword disappeared. There are also human sword cultivators. It's the Void Spirit's sword chi of a soul formation sword cultivator. Be careful. The late-stage Fiend Generals recognized this sword Dao ability and immediately closed their eyes. The purplish-black scales on their bodies stood up as if sensing something. Suddenly, the 6 Fiend Generals raised their weapons at the same time and slashed toward the distance. Clang! Accompanied by a crisp sword cry, the green-gold sword seemed to have teleported. It shot out from the twisted air and clashed with the weapons of the 6 late-stage Fiend Generals. A terrifyingly sharp sword chi intertwined with the devil Yuan Qi. Under this extremely sharp Yuan Qi attack, the 6 late-stage devil generals were sent flying. However, this terrifying Yuan Qi sword also dissipated along with it. Not a true soul formation sword cultivator. 5 late-stage Fiend Generals are enough to block it. These 2 human cultivators can display attacks close to the Fiend King. Split into 2 groups of late-stage Fiend Generals to block them. 30 Fiend Generals to guard the Fiend soldiers and the strange Fiend race in the demonic fog. The rest, follow me to break through this battleship. Under the command of a late-stage Fiend General, the Fiend race's formation rapidly changed. Of the original 16 late-stage Fiend Generals, 5 were pulled into the demonic fog by the suspected Fiend race cultivators. 5 floated to the left wing of the battleship, guarding against Lu Jinyuan. The other 5 were on the right wing, facing off against Yu Longfei, who was dozens of li away. The early-stage Fiend Generals flew down to protect the hundreds of Fiend soldiers below. These Fiend soldiers had not been affected before. Now, they were about to unleash their third wave of Fiend arrow rain. Although many were blocked by the immortal cultivator's magic treasures, there were still hundreds of arrows that struck the defensive barrier of the Astral Star battleship. Along with the destructive chi, the thick barrier quickly dimmed. The 80 fiend generals also rushed to the side of the ship and hammered down with their shining fiend weapons. Soon, the outermost barrier of the astral star battleship was shattered. The hundreds of fiend soldiers below continued to pull the bowstrings of their giant crossbows, preparing to attack the immortal cultivators on the deck. But at this moment, the sound of air exploding suddenly entered the ears of the fiend soldiers. The demonic fog on the right wing suddenly churned. "Something is coming. Careful. Go protect the fiend soldiers." They saw a yellow deformed ball of flesh rush out of the demonic fog. It seemed to be made purely of interwoven muscles. The thick muscle fibers on the surface were twisted and twisted. Rumble, this deformed ball of flesh rushed into the formation of more than 400 fiend soldiers at an astonishing speed. As if it had terrifying strength, it knocked over a dozen fiend soldiers and fell heavily to the ground. Then, this ball of flesh twisted and a huge body of 9 feet tall appeared in front of all the fiend soldiers. He looked like a humanoid creature. Every muscle on his body swelled into mini hills, almost wrapping his body into a ball. Half of his head was covered by the muscles on his shoulders, making him look extremely ferocious. Then, this deformed giant raised his hands and hammered the ground with his boulder-like fist. Along with the slight tremors of the ground, a yellow ripple of distorted force field surged out of his body and spread in all directions. The demon soldiers that were affected by the strange force field seemed to be drunk. Their bodies swayed, and some even fell to the ground. The giant ballistae in their hands also loosened. Chapter 1370. What kind of power is this? Lord Demon King's force field? No, it's some kind of special restrictive power. The weight of the body seems to have increased by 100 times. The surrounding demon soldiers all revealed looks of horror. The muscles under their scales contracted, and they quickly stabilized their bodies. For them who had the physical strength of 100 to 200,000 gene, the increase in weight did not cause too much harm. However, the weight of the crossbows had increased by 100 times, reaching 100,000 gene. The elasticity of the bowstrings also seemed to have changed. They would not be able to use the crossbows for a short period of time. Boom, boom, another series of loud booms came from the ground. Seeing the demon generals surrounding him, the huge man who was so deformed that he resembled a ball of muscle began to run among the hundreds of demon soldiers. His speed was astonishing, completely unlike his bloated body. The earthen yellow force field radiating from his body was like a semicircular ball of light. As he ran, the demon soldiers who were affected by it all swayed left and right, unable to use the crossbows in their hands. Protect the demon soldiers. Join hands to deal with this guy. The surrounding 30 early-stage demon generals all rushed in, but when they were 20 zhang away from the giant, they immediately felt their bodies become 100 times heavier. They did not have the force field of the Demon King and relied on the demonic power in their bodies to fly. When their weight increased, not only did their flying speed decrease, their demonic power consumption also increased sharply. They could not catch up to the giant. These early-stage demon generals had no choice but to land on the ground and run with pure physical strength. Their speed was much faster, but the demon soldiers' formation on the ground became even more chaotic under their pursuit. The surrounding demon soldiers saw this scene and felt somewhat strange. This deformed meatball giant was only using the gravitational field to disturb them. He did not seem to have any intention of killing them. Even when running on the ground, he did his best to avoid colliding with them. The giant looked at them as if he was looking at some kind of treasure, as if he could not bear to destroy them. This made many demon soldiers feel an indescribable sense of strangeness. As the giant was only running in the demon soldiers' formation, the 30 early-stage demon generals could easily surround him. Borrowing the strength of their physical bodies, they rushed into the gravitational field and raised their weapons, attempting to attack. Facing the attacks of 20 to 30 devil generals, the deformed giant did not seem to care at all. He just crossed his bucket-like arms in front of his head and ran around the battlefield in a rude and unreasonable manner. These demon generals all sneered. Even a peak late-stage demon general would not dare to take on the bombardment of so many demon treasures with his physical body, let alone the fact that his skin was not protected by scales. But when they got close to the giant, they suddenly felt as if the weight of their bodies had disappeared. Under the force of running, their bodies floated up like feathers. All the demon soldiers in this area looked like they had seen a ghost. Their bodies and the giant ballistae in front of them floated into the air. The several early-stage demon generals at the front were spinning in the air. They had no way to borrow strength from the void, so they hurriedly circulated their mana in an attempt to stabilize their bodies. The magic treasures in their hands didn't have any power besides a layer of magic light. Bang, bang, bang. Then, these demon generals felt as if they were floating flower petals that were hit by a heavy boulder and were easily sent flying out of the gravitational field. At this time, their weight returned to normal. They drew an arc and fell to the ground, making dull crashing sounds. The demon generals who fell to the ground were dumbfounded. They had never seen such a strange power that could change the gravity at will. Sometimes it would be 0, and sometimes it would be 100 times stronger. In such an environment, unless they had the Demon King's force field and could borrow strength from the void, they would not be able to exert the physical strength of their physical bodies. This kind of power would even become an obstacle. For a moment, the 30 early-stage demon generals stood in the periphery. They looked at the deformed giant who made more than 400 demon soldiers lose their fighting strength and did not take the initiative to attack. Then, they looked at the battleship in front. Under the sneak attack of the suspected demon race, the attack of the demon army was delayed. 5 waves of cultivators flew out from the nodes of the formation in the distance. Each wave had 30 nascent soul stage cultivators. A total of 150 people came as reinforcement. Hundreds of magic treasures crisscrossed in the air above the giant battleship, blocking the demon generals who attacked the deck of the battleship. It must be known that the crossbows activated by the 3 demon soldiers had the offensive strength of an early-stage demon general. Without the support of the demon soldiers, not only would the demon generals not be able to break through the battleship, they would even fall into a bitter struggle. We must stop this guy. At least force him away. We can only activate the demon treasures from a distance. The 30 demon generals communicated with their spiritual senses and couldn't help but look humiliated. As demons with powerful physical bodies, they could only display their strongest fighting strength with demonic treasures in hand. But now, they had to learn from those humans with inferior bloodlines and hide in the distance to attack from a distance. This was simply an insult to the demons. But at this moment, they had no choice but to do so. Therefore, these early-stage demon generals gritted their teeth, and the nascent soul-stage demon force in their bodies surged violently. Their demon treasures turned into purple-black light and shot out. Although the gravity of the demon treasures was also affected, the demon race did not hesitate to consume their demon force. Even if the giant was fast, he was still attacked by the 30 demon treasures. Dang, 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 a series of crisp sounds of collisions rang out, and the demons were all dumbfounded. After several rounds of attacks, the giant's yellow skin seemed to be even harder than the scales of the demon race. The demon treasures simply couldn't break his defense. Right at this moment, a purplish-black giant hammer shot out from the edge of the battleship. It contained a terrifying power and dense demonic energy. Bursts of black halos surged out from the surrounding demonic mist, wrapping the giant hammer in a layer of yuan-chi halo. The late-stage demon general commanding the battle originally planned to attack the battleship with all his strength, but seeing this scene, he had no choice but to retreat. This sledgehammer, which contained a halo of magical energy, paused for a moment when it rushed into the range of the deformed giant's gravitational field. But under the magical power of a late-stage demon general, it still attacked at an astonishing speed. Boom! Under the expectant gazes of the surrounding demons, the giant's rock-like back muscles finally ruptured, revealing the pale yellow muscle fibers inside. But then, yellow blood gushed out and weaved in the ruptured muscle fibers. This ruptured muscle, as if inflated, swelled up again. At the same time, the giant, who had not made any other movements, suddenly turned around and grabbed the giant hammer with his muscular hands. The late-stage demon general suddenly felt the astonishing power of the other party. It seemed to be a bit stronger than a mid-stage demon general. Seeing that the other party wanted to snatch the demon treasure, he coldly snorted and the demon force in his body surged. But then, a destructive energy rushed into the demon treasure, causing the demon light on the surface of the giant hammer to slightly dim. Fortunately, at this time, a mass of demon yuan qi just happened to converge and broke free from the giant's hand, flying out shakily. What kind of energy is this? After holding the giant hammer again, the late-stage demon general's expression changed. Although the demon treasure was back in his hand, he could sense that the structure inside had been slightly damaged. Looking at the giant who continued to charge into the demon army's formation, as well as the strange gravity restriction that resembled a demon king's force field, his expression gradually turned grave. Then, the lips of the late-stage demon general moved slightly, as if he was transmitting a message to a certain demon. Then, he stretched out his other hand, and another giant hammer appeared in it. He did not care about attacking the battleship and directly rushed toward the deformed giant. Just as the demon army's formation was being turned upside down by the muscular giant, the demon fog several hundred zhang away was also surging violently. From time to time, there would be waves of terrifying qi surging inside. Somewhere at the bottom of the demon fog, a late-stage demon general was twitching on the ground. His body was wrapped in a layer of black liquid, which was continuously flowing into his mouth, nose, and ears, accompanied by an unyielding will. Gradually, all the black liquid entered his body, and the late-stage demon general gradually stopped struggling. His tightly closed eyes slowly opened, revealing a pair of pitch-black pupils. The scales on his face relaxed slightly, and he looked very comfortable. Such a fresh body is much more comfortable than the body of a demon zombie. Hong Yuntian's voice came out of his mouth. Then, the demon general flipped his body over and stood up. At the same time, an invisible distortion force field gushed out from the scales on the surface of his body, squeezing the surrounding demon fog away. I didn't expect that after entering the mid-stage of demon transformation, the devouring power of the demon qi and demon qi would be even stronger. Coupled with the suppression of my will, I can easily occupy this body. He moved his body, and the scales on his brows suddenly wrinkled. This seat has the strength of 1,000,000 jin, and late-stage demon generals are the same. According to the flesh doppelganger's ability, even if it can't reach full yuan power, it should have the strength of a critical point. But now it's only 1,500,000 jin. Hong Yuntian's heart flashed with some doubts. Then, he looked up at the origin qi clouds in the sky. Lu Kuan has the Berserk Bloodline's active ability, so it shouldn't be a problem for him to deal with 4 demon emperors. But it's hard to say for those pseudo-divine transformation stage cultivators. Just in case, this seat had better keep a trump card. The essence of a late-stage demon general's body is far from enough, Hong Yuntian muttered in his heart. A distortion force field gushed out from his feet, and he shot toward the rolling demon fog not far away. Chapter 1371. Somewhere in the demonic fog, a headless demon corpse lay on the ground. There was a bloody hole in its abdomen. A golden-haired monkey stood to the side. The force field in its palm was constantly twisting as it played with a 3-inch-tall purple-black demon infant. This demon race person flailed its limbs and struggled. However, under the suppression of the massive source force field, The range of its movements was extremely limited. Xiao Jin curiously sized up this demon infant. However, in his eyes, this was no different from a nascent soul of a demon cultivator. After the little monkey cultivated to the middle stage of bone transformation, it had all the abilities of the long-armed demon ape. Just by relying on the 50% increase in strength from the long-armed demon ape, combined with the severing fist battle technique and source force field, it was enough to suppress a late-stage demon general. The power of the surrounding demonic fog was greatly reduced. Even if it did not use its divine soul concealment ability, as long as it hid its body and consciousness in the depths of its spine and wrapped it in blood essence, it would not be affected. After a while, the surrounding demonic fog surged as a late-stage demon general slowly flew over. The demon infant that was trapped by the source force field revealed a look of joy. However, when it saw the distorted force field outside the demon general's body, it could not help but be stunned. The little monkey was startled at first. Then, it felt a familiar aura and said proudly, "Old Hong, you only just finished it? I finished the battle in 10 breaths." Hong Yuntian ignored the smug monkey. He came to the headless demon corpse's side and opened his mouth. He spat out a ball of black liquid that surged into its ruptured abdomen. Accompanied by a strong aura of the demon race's bloodline, strange totems appeared on the surface of the purple-black scales of the corpse. They looked like patterns unique to the demon race, and they were rolling with an evil and greedy aura. Following that, the demon corpse seemed to be dehydrated as it shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye. The demon infant in Xiao Jin's palm had a dull expression. It even forgot to struggle as it watched its late-stage demon general body shrink bit by bit, as if it was being devoured by some evil energy. After a while, its body was condensed into a purple-black ball of flesh and blood. Thick flesh and blood intertwined inside, and was swallowed into the mouth of the demon general with the demon king force field. "Old Hong, what should we do with this demonic infant?" Xiao Jin asked. Hearing this, Hong Yuntian patted his abdomen and opened his mouth again, spitting out another demon nascent soul. Unlike Xiao Jin, his demon nascent soul had completely lost its divine soul aura, leaving only dense devil power. "Seal it with the dragon-breaking stone powder. After the battle, I will slowly study it." "All right." The demonic neonate in Xiao Jin's hand stared at Hong Yuntian with its small eyes. There was a hint of confusion in its eyes, but more than that, there was a fear of the unknown. Its mind was in a mess. Just what kind of life form is this? Why would a demon king force field appear after seizing the body of a saint? What kind of energy is that black liquid? It actually swallowed my body so easily. If I'm not mistaken, when the liquid swallowed the blood traces that only a high-level Saint clan member would have appeared. This long-armed demon ape also has a demon king force field. The 3-headed, 6-armed monster that Lord Demon Emperor is fighting also has one. Could it be that this world has given birth to a brand new race? Hold on, what they just said seems to be the language of humans. As this final thought flashed through its mind, the demon nascent soul felt an incomparably powerful and unyielding will attack it. Its divine soul immediately fainted and was wrapped up in gray powder. In another part of the demonic fog, roars constantly sounded out. A late-stage demon general was rolling on the ground. Huang Xiaoyun's muscles had swelled several times over. His deformed arms wrapped around the demon general's shoulder joints from behind. His hands went around the demon general's armpits and grabbed onto the bone spurs on the demon general's shoulder. His legs crossed the demon general's waist and his feet wrapped around the front of the demon general's thighs, locking them behind the demon general's knees. The incomparably thick muscles of his 4 limbs were like giant steel cables that bound the demon general's limbs. At the same time, dark golden sword qi revolved around Huang Xiaoyun's body, bringing with it an incomparably sharp aura. It attacked the late-stage demon general's shoulder joints, elbow joints, pelvis, hip, and knee joint. A purple-black demonic saber shuttled back and forth in the air. Every time it was about to attack Huang Xiaoyun, the latter's force field would distort, using the late-stage demon general's body as a shield in front of him. Is this a human or a monster? Why does he have a demon king force field? Could it be the same race as that three-headed, six-armed monster? What came from the spirit world isn't a living being, but an entire race. Damn it! He actually understands the body structure of a Saint clan member. I can't display my strength at all. The demon general saw that his demon treasure couldn't help him escape, so he simply stopped controlling it. Instead, he focused on operating the demon qi in his body. Strands of demon yuan qi gushed out from the surrounding demon mist, forming a faint protective film on the surface of his scales. The power of these continuous sword qis was immediately weakened by a lot, but there were still waves of powerful penetrating force that pierced into the scales. Although the sharpness of the sword qis was mostly blocked, there was still a pure force of impact that caused the tendons in the four limbs to go numb, and there was no way for him to fully exert his strength. It's effective! The late-stage demon general revealed a look of joy. With the support of demon yuan qi, the might of the opponent's sword qi rapidly decreased. Once his tendons completely recovered from the soreness, he would have a chance to break free. But he didn't notice that when he stopped controlling the demon treasure, Huang Xiaoyun's force field had a new change. His body floated from the ground to the air. This man and demon general were both lying on their back. From a distance, Huang Xiaoyun's entire body was like a giant palm. His four limbs were incomparably thick fingers, and his torso was the palm that held the demon general in the palm of his hand. The 200-plus bone treasures in his body began to shine with a dark golden light. Countless incomparably sharp sword qi, under the influence of the source force field, followed the surface of his bones and converged towards his chest. The profound meaning of the fist-heart sword is to compress and condense the sharpness of the sword treasure. Now that the bone treasure has fused with the eternal metal stone, it has become an even stronger sharpness. A small hand bone can no longer compress such a terrifying strength. Only by using the torso as the palm and the four limbs as the fingers, and borrowing the strength of a bone transformation body cultivator's powerful mortal body, can I completely compress this even more powerful sword qi. Excitement flickered in Huang Xiaoyun's eyes as his demonic energy surged madly. Countless dark golden rays of light flowed down his bulging muscles, converging towards his chest. With a wung sound, Huang Xiaoyun's chest lit up with a dazzling golden light, outlining a small sword several inches long. This was the bone inside the human body that was most similar to the shape of a sword, the sternum. A violent and sharp force rolled, and the skin on his chest split open inch by inch, revealing the sword protrusion of his sternum. The origin energy field around his body also collapsed towards his chest, and his sternum began to tremble violently. At this moment, the scales on the body of the late-stage demon general, who was still urging his demon energy, stood up. But before he could do anything, he heard the crisp sound of a sword. Boom! Accompanied by a dark golden sword light, the late-stage demon general's waist and abdomen exploded, revealing a fist-sized hole. A 3-inch nascent soul was inside, its small eyes still somewhat dazed. There was also a hole in its nascent soul. Then, this demon nascent soul was like a shattered porcelain, cracking with cracks and collapsing into pure demon qi. With a plop, the late-stage demon general's corpse fell to the ground. Huang Xiaoyun floated to the side, his muscles gradually returning to normal. A dark golden sword light several inches long shot back from the sky, piercing into his chest. He looked at the late-stage demon general's corpse on the ground and let out a heavy breath. Master was right. Apart from the demon emperor, the rest of the demon race only rely on their physical talent. They don't cultivate their physical bodies. Compared to us body cultivators, their use of their physical bodies is much worse. In this battle, it seemed like he had the upper hand, but only Huang Xiaoyun himself understood that he had borrowed the advantage of the first move to quickly lock down the late-stage demon general. It had to be known that after a body cultivator completed the integration of their physical bodies, the strength of their limbs would not be limited by their joint. These demon generals had not formed their physical body's source strength, so the strength of their muscles was still limited. Although the strength of his physical body was inferior to the other parties, by locking down the other party's limbs and using sword qi to attack their joints and tendons, he could completely prevent the other party from displaying the strength of a million jin. With the limbs as fingers and the torso as a palm, this late-stage demon general had been squeezed into the palm of his torso. At such a close distance, with the weak waist and abdomen bearing the strongest blow of the demon gold body, he was instantly killed. As for the surrounding demon fog illusions, as long as a body cultivator's divine soul was hidden deep in the spine and protected by their thick blood essence, they would not be affected. Suddenly, the demonic corpse lying on the ground trembled, and a purple ball of light shot out from its chest. Demon soul? Huang Xiaoyun was taken aback. Just as he was about to use his void force, an invisible force mixed with an unyielding will gushed out from the demonic fog, slamming into the soul and shattering it into pieces. Don't be careless. A demon general's divine soul can be stored in its internal organs. Following this voice, a tall late-stage demon general walked out from the demon fog, a golden-haired monkey standing on his shoulder. Great Elder, Senior Brother Jin. Hong Yuntian stepped forward and opened his mouth, shooting a ball of black liquid into the demon corpse's abdomen and condensing it into a ball of flesh and blood essence. After sucking the ball of flesh and blood into his mouth, he turned to look in the direction of the battleship and said softly, "A late-stage demon general went to deal with Xiao Yan. This kid used his void strength to cast the gravity field, so he consumed a lot of his demon qi. He can't fight for a long time. Xiao Jin, go kill that late-stage demon general. Li Qianfeng's battle is almost over. Xiao Yun, take them to support the cultivators on the battleship. Don't let the demon race break into the deck. This king will come after devouring the 2 demon generals besieged by the silver-armored corpses." "Okay. Yes, Great Elder." Then, the demon, the man, and the monkey all shot off in 3 different directions. Chapter 1372. Thump, thump, thump. More and more muffled vibrations came from the ground. Pan Yan's huge body was charging everywhere, dodging the pursuing late-stage demon general while storing the giant ballistae on the ground into his rib space. Such a move scared the other demon soldiers into hastily putting away their ballistae. They didn't set up any ballista formation, but took advantage of the arrival of the late-stage demon general to scatter. Through this period of observation, the surrounding demon soldiers discovered that although this gravitational field was strange, its range was limited. At most, it could affect a range of 20 zhang. As long as they scattered enough, the number of demon soldiers affected would be less, and they would be able to set up a new formation. Bang! With a loud bang, the 2 hammers with black halos smashed into the muscles on Pan Yan's shoulders. The power of the demonic yuan qi contained in the hammers caused a cloud of blood to explode, and Pan Yan's body to stagger. The pursuing late-stage demon general took this opportunity to rush in. His body was covered in a layer of black halo. He had already tried several times and discovered that as long as he had demon yuan qi attached to him, the influence of this gravitational field would be reduced by more than half. An increase of several tens of thousands of genes was nothing to a late-stage demon general with a physical strength of 1,000,000 genes. If this gravitational field reduced his weight, it would instead make his movements more nimble. The demon stomped on the ground and caught the 2 hammers that bounced back. The muscles under its scales bulged, exuding an incomparably ferocious aura. With a demon treasure in hand, a late-stage demon general could display a physical strength of 1,000,000 genes and vigorous demon Yuan Qi. In addition to the destructive power of his demon Yuan Qi, his fighting strength was even more terrifying than an ordinary 10th-level demon beast. Pan Yan's expression didn't change when he saw that the gravitational field couldn't affect this high-stage demon. The demon Yuan Qi in his body surged, and the gravitational field that radiated 20 zhang suddenly disappeared. His huge body filled with muscles also rushed towards the other party. However, on his thick palms, a pair of dark yellow gloves had appeared at some unknown time. They seemed to be refined from some special bone material. The fingertips of the gloves were like sharp bone spikes, and there was even a vortex twisting the air above them, emitting an incomparably sharp might. It's the aura of a demon king force field. Just what kind of creature is this? What is this guy trying to do? After that, the countenance of the late-stage devil general changed. He discovered that the other party didn't make any defensive move. It was as though the other party wanted to use his fleshly body to resist his hammers, exchanging injury for injury. He hesitated for a moment, and the twin demonic hammers switched from offense to defense, defending against the opponent's bone claws. Clang! With a crisp sound, the bone claw glove and the demonic hammer collided. At this moment, this late-stage demon general felt a strange fluctuation coming from the two claws. It was the same gravitational field as before, but this force field only radiated a few qi. His arm and a small part of his torso were affected. Although he was protected by demonic Yuan Qi, the weight of this part of his body was still reduced by half. It seemed to be even more powerful. The weight of the muscles in his arms, shoulders, arms, and waist suddenly changed, causing the core power transmission of this demon general's body to stagnate. In the next moment, the other party's incomparably sturdy body crashed into his demonic body. Boom! As though he had crashed into a small mountain flying at high speed, this late-stage demon general saw stars in his eyes. His purplish-black demonic body was easily sent flying. At this moment, a golden figure shot out from the demonic fog. It was a golden-haired monkey. The moment it flew out, the surrounding demonic Yuan Qi rolled and gathered behind it, forming the phantom of a black demonic ape. Roar! A sky-shaking roar came out of the little monkey's mouth. The demonic ape phantom behind it turned into a faint black halo, mixing with the sound waves, and charged at the hundreds of demon soldiers and the 30 demon generals scattered on the ground. This sky-piercing roar was more than twice as fast as before. The surrounding demons didn't even have time to gather together to resist before they were hit by the terrifying sound wave. Those demon generals seemed to have been immobilized, standing on the ground in a daze. As for the remaining hundreds of demon soldiers, besides standing in a daze, those near the center of the sound waves had black blood seeping out of their scales. Their bodies seemed to have suffered heavy injuries. Following this roar, the golden monkey's body rapidly expanded, instantly turning into a black demonic ape just like the previous phantom. Its huge body was 20 feet tall, and its arms were like pillars supporting the heavens. The only difference was that it had 4 golden ears on both sides of its head. Its palms, which were larger than millstones, were twisted with several layers of silver palm shadow force fields. With a wave of vibrating power, it separately slapped the head and abdomen of the late-stage demon general in the air. A series of muffled explosions sounded. The struggling late-stage demon general stopped moving and fell to the ground with a plop. Then, the 20 feet tall black demonic ape, together with Pan Yen, rushed into the group of 30 demon generals affected by the sky-piercing roar. The terrifying air waves and the fluctuations of the gravitational field rolled again. It's that long-armed demon ape again. It has appeared. Where are the 5 clansmen? Demon King Force Field, it's the Demon King Force Field again. What kind of race are these monsters? The 10 late-stage demon generals in the air saw the changes in the blink of an eye. Fear of the unknown appeared in their eyes. Just as they were hesitating whether to go over and help, 2 terrifying yuan qi pressure soared into the sky from afar. When Lu Jinyuan and Yu Longfei discovered that the demon generals on the ground were suppressed by the body-refining pavilion, they seemed to have a tacit understanding and did not hesitate to activate their spirit treasures in an attempt to entangle the 10 late-stage demon generals. Faced with the attacks of 2 pseudo-soul formation stage experts, these high-level demon generals looked grave and had no choice but to stay where they were. If they left, the demon generals on the battleship would not be able to resist such a terrifying yuan qi ability. For a moment, there were terrifying yuan qi fluctuations in the air on both sides of the battleship. On the other side, the battle on the deck of the Big Dipper battleship had also reached its climax. 70 to 80 early and middle stage demon generals were in the front half of the deck. The cultivators who came from the other nodes of the formation were in the air at the rear of the deck. At this moment, they were controlling their magic treasures and spells from afar, constantly attacking their opponents. As time passed, these demon generals' expressions became more and more serious. They were all nascent soul stage experts. Although they were hindered by the demonic fog, they could still detect the battle on the ground. The first to attack the demonic fog was the 3-headed and 6-armed monster, the long-armed demon ape just now, the humanoid creatures with abnormally strong bodies, and the excited human cultivators around them. When all of these were connected, the demon cultivators had a bad premonition. This immortal cultivation world seemed to be different from 700 years ago. Although they had gathered their strength to attack the battleship and killed the 9 nascent soul stage cultivators guarding it with lightning speed, the battleship still maintained its formation. Clearly, the key was in the cabin below the deck. However, the deck was not only mixed with many spiritual materials, but also reinforced with countless formation arrays. Its strength was even comparable to that of a spirit treasure imitation. Under the siege of almost twice the number of nascent soul stage cultivators, these demon generals could not break the deck in a short time. Under the impact of a large number of magic treasures, they were still retreating bit by bit. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this moment, several extremely strong figures rushed out of the fog on the ground. These creatures looked like humans. Their bodies were twisted with the unique force field of the Demon King, and they attacked the demon generals on the ground. Punches and punches mixed with the screams of the demon generals came from the ground below, causing the demon generals on the battleship to feel a great pressure. There are strong enemies in front and behind us. We are in a quagmire. Unless the Demon King defeats those pseudo-soul formation stage humans, we are in danger. What should we do? Should we retreat? Just as these demon generals were panicking, a steady voice sounded in the minds of all the demon generals. You are wrong. We still have a chance. The demon generals could not help but look over. In the center of the demon generals, there were 3 strong demon generals. They were all at the peak of the mid-stage soul formation stage. The one who spoke was the demon general with the thickest muscles. He sat cross-legged on the deck. The other 2 demon generals pressed their hands on his shoulders. Waves of purplish-black lightning energy surged in their bodies and were continuously injected into him. The demon general who sat cross-legged had a determined expression. He looked at the 7 nascent souls in front of him. They were the nascent souls that the demon generals had captured alive. Luo Shan. Devour the nascent souls. Break through to the pseudo-demon emperor stage. When the surrounding demon generals saw this scene, they were all shaken. Then, they turned around and surrounded the nascent souls. Then, the strongest demon general swallowed the nascent souls one by one. Chapter 1373. High up in the sky of the Big Dipper Formation, inside the forbidden space that was surrounded by the thunder clouds, There was a fiery red bird, a blue ice phoenix, a golden halberd, a yellow seal the size of a small mountain, a purple lightning hammer, and a crescent moon wind blade. These 6 types of powerful techniques that exuded a strong pressure of yuan qi constantly drilled out of the yuan qi cloud. With the help of several divine spirit treasures, they took turns to attack the 6 devil kings. Although the spells and divine spirit treasures of the soul formation level were much weaker than the devil artifacts wielded by the devil kings, they had the advantage in that these spells were endless. In addition, this forbidden space isolated the devil essence, so these pseudo-soul formation cultivators had the upper hand for now. Shui Man, this female demon king, lifted the great axe in her hands and chopped apart a firebird. Her right leg kicked away a deep yellow ring, and she connected her divine sense with the other demon kings. She coldly snorted. These human pseudo-soul formation cultivators want to consume our devil essence. Too naive. We are not the devil king prisoners that were sent here before. Use your devil powers. As they spoke, a force field that was 3 feet long gushed out from the devil king's bodies. There was a trace of purple-black lightning energy in it, like a special electric field. Then, these force fields started to spin with their bodies as the core and rushed toward the pseudo-soul formation cultivators in the center. The soul formation spells that were chasing after them were directly distorted after colliding with the rotating lightning force field, and those divine spiritual treasures were sent flying by the demonic weapons in the hands of the demon king. Although the powerful spells around them could be cast continuously, each pseudo-soul formation cultivator could only control 2 at a time. At this moment, they could only watch the 6 devil kings quickly approach them. Shui Feng, block their dharma treasures. The rest of you, form a formation with me. Okay. Yes. The devil king that had just broken through changed the weapon in his hand. He held 2 black shields and tried to block the divine spirit treasures with his explosive speed. The remaining 5 devil kings stood in a circle. With the help of the lightning energy, their force fields fused together, forming a special force field ring that surrounded the pseudo-divine transformation stage cultivator. The faces of fire spirit supremacy and the others changed. At this moment, they suddenly felt that their connection with the Big Dipper formation had been weakened by more than half. Even their divine spirit treasures had become a little blurry. This force field ring mixed with lightning energy was like a special kind of primordial spirit chain that sealed their primordial spirits. The 6 yuan qi spells in the restrictive space quickly dimmed and disappeared, and the flying speed of the divine spirit treasures also slowed down. As for the 2 origin qi clouds that enveloped this place, they were trembling non-stop, and cracks even appeared. Sensing the changes in the Big Dipper formation, the 5 demon kings who had formed a circle revealed sinister smiles. They raised their respective demon weapons and attacked the 6-colored barrier before them. Boom, 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 a series of rumbling sounds could be heard, and the majestic waves of primordial qi rushed back and forth. The light inside the 6-colored shield flickered non-stop, and its recovery speed could not keep up with the speed of damage. It quickly dimmed. After several dozen breaths of time, cracks began to appear on the barrier. In addition, the yuan qi cloud beneath their feet had also completely split open, revealing the battlefield below. They are besieging a battleship. Something's not right. Why did we lose so many demon generals? Wait, those creatures below seem to have demon king force fields. They look like humans, just like that monster. These demon kings soon discovered the disciples of the body refining pavilion on the ground, and their expressions changed. Shui Man said in a deep voice, "Let's deal with these pseudo-soul formation cultivators first." Their attacks didn't stop. After several breaths of time, the defensive barrier activated by the Big Dipper formation shattered with a loud bang. Then the 5 demon kings, in addition to the Blood Wind demon king who had just broken through, rushed forward. The 3-foot force field dispersed, and through the pressure of the invisible force field, The pseudo-soul formation cultivators were locked in the center. Destroy them, and then go down and kill those strange creatures and humans. As she spoke, the blood-barbarian female demon king raised the demon axe in her hand. The giant axe contained 1,000,000 gene of strength and demon essence, and viciously chopped down at the blue-robed northern frost fairy in front of her. Clang! A violent wave of air billowed out. The expected sound of flesh and blood being cut apart didn't appear. Instead, what replaced it was the crisp sound of metal striking metal. Shui-Man felt as if his axe had chopped down on solid armor. She focused her eyes and saw that the opponent's head was covered by a strange golden armor at some unknown time. Her demon axe chopped down on the golden armor, and some golden fragments splashed out. Shui-Man was stunned for a moment. Then, he heard several similarly crisp sounds of collisions. A massive amount of energy and demon essence overflowed in all directions. The robes that these pseudo-divine transformation masters wore were torn apart, revealing shining golden armor underneath. What kind of magic weapon is this? The 8 human cultivators in front of her all wore golden armor that clung to their bodies. Strange spiral patterns were engraved on the armor, as if it was made of some kind of bone material. It contained a strange energy that was a mixture of blood and essence chi. The surrounding demon kings were stunned. They had seen powerful defensive magic weapons before, but the golden armor in front of them was able to withstand attacks while also absorbing 1,000,000 gene of strength. After these human cultivators were struck by the demon artifact, their bodies didn't even sway. However, when Shui-Man saw the golden fragments scattered around, her eyes narrowed. This defensive magic weapon is easily damaged. It will break after a few more attacks. The other demon kings heard this and raised their demon artifacts to attack once more. The pseudo-soul formation cultivators were squeezed in the middle by the force fields of the 6 demon kings. They simply didn't have any room to move, so they could only stimulate their true essence to help defend themselves. But in the face of powerful demon artifacts, their true essence shields simply couldn't withstand the all-out attack of the demon kings. Clang, clang, clang. Several crisp sounds echoed out as more golden fragments were chopped down. The several demon kings also discovered that the strange energy within the golden armor had been weakened by a great deal. They couldn't help but feel refreshed. However, at this moment, an extremely violent will suddenly rose from the surrounding golden fragment. They instantly turned into blobs of golden blood that passed through the demon king's force field and landed on the purplish-black scales on the surface of their bodies. In the next moment, this golden liquid turned into a bloody mist. It seemed to ignore the demon king's bodies, bringing with it a greedy aura as it submerged into the gaps between their scales. The 6 demon kings suddenly felt a bloodline aura that contained a violent will appear within their bodies. Their muscles became limp and they couldn't even hold onto the demon artifacts in their hand. The force fields around their bodies also vanished without a trace. What the hell is this? My mortal body seems to be out of control. The demon kings cried out in alarm. The nerves in their bodies seemed to have been severed and they couldn't control their muscles. They had to rely on the demonic essence within their bodies to stabilize their bodies. Supremacy Fire Spirit immediately discovered the strangeness of the demon kings. Magic weapons gushed out from his body and smashed into the demon king's tall bodies. Although he wasn't able to injure them in a hurry, the power contained within sent the demon kings flying away. Then, they quickly communicated with their divine spiritual treasures. Spells flashed in their hands as they communicated with the heavenly spirit formation again. The 6 special essence chi waves began to recover. A 6-colored essence chi shield appeared around them. The essence chi clouds above and below also stopped trembling and gradually stabilized. As for the demon kings who had lost control of their bodies, they could only rely on the thick demonic essence within their bodies to defend against the pseudo-soul formation's attack. Their demon artifacts revolved around their bodies. Suddenly, the 6 demon kings felt a special wave. They couldn't help but look through the gaps in the essence chi clouds at the battleship that had gathered a large number of demon generals. The aura of demonic energy. The aura of a pseudo-demon emperor's breakthrough. This is our chance. They were pleasantly surprised. The demon artifacts around them lit up with demonic light. 6 solid dark purple shadows of axes and hammers passed through the gaps in the essence chi clouds that were about to close up and shot towards the battlefield below. However, these demon kings didn't have time to launch a second round of attacks before the essence chi clouds below closed up again. Fortunately, after a few seconds, the violent will in their bodies that was blocking their nerves weakened a lot. Under the agitation of their primordial spirits and demonic energy, clouds of blood mist were squeezed out from the surface of their bodies. Finally, they condensed into a small drop of golden blood and fell into the demon palms. At this time, the aura of the violent will completely disappeared. However, before these demon kings could investigate, a destructive aura surged out from the golden blood. Black and white halos intertwined. Boom, boom, boom. The scales on the demon's palms cracked under the violent destructive energy, revealing some of the flesh and blood inside. Although they didn't suffer much damage, these demon kings all fell silent. They looked at the golden armor of the human cultivators in the distance. Other than fear in their eyes, there was also some fear of the unknown. The violent will. It's the will of that monster. What kind of divine ability is this? It can make us lose our physical strength for a short period of time. This golden blood can also self-destruct. We can't let it enter our bodies, damn it. We almost killed these pseudo-soul formation cultivators. Calm down. One of our people has broken through to the pseudo-demon emperor realm. Once he destroys the formation, we'll use our long-range divine ability to kill these pseudo-soul formation cultivators. Divine transformation stage spells of various colors appeared in this restricted space again. Together with the divine spiritual treasures, they engaged in a fierce battle with the 6 fiend kings again. However, these demon kings' expressions were much more serious than before. Chapter 1374. High up in the sky, far away from the battlefield, a distorted force field sphere with a diameter of 6 meters was constantly tumbling between the clouds. The demonic artifacts in the hands of the 4 demon emperors had already been put away. Their bodies were spread out in a circle, wrapped around the force field sphere. In addition to the radiation force field on the surface of their bodies, there was also dark purple lightning energy intertwined. They looked a little strained, trying their best to maintain this lightning-like force field cage. Lu Kuan's burly body was trapped in it, but he looked calm. The surface of his body exuded a circle of pale golden force field, resisting the pressure of the dark purple force field cage. At the same time, his hands and feet were constantly changing. His hands sometimes formed palms, sometimes formed fists. Accompanied by these movements, golden halos constantly gushed out of his body, condensing into different golden phantoms outside his palms. These solid phantoms changed into palms, claws, fists, fingertips, and so on. They constantly bombarded the dark purple force field around them. Although no sound came out, every attack made the force field cage tremble. The faces of the 4 demon emperors became more and more solemn. Their shining purple-black chests dimmed with each tremor. After a short while, Lu Kuan stopped his movements, stretched his body, and said, "This battle formation of the demon race is not simple. It actually fuses the force fields inside together. Although it can't integrate the power of 4 demon emperors, it can generate more than 2 million kilograms of power in another way." Demon Emperor Luoyu, who was the leader, finally couldn't help but ask, "What kind of creature are you? Why do you have the force field ability of our saint race?" Lu Kuan crossed his arms and quietly floated in the force field cage. because he stopped attacking, the dark purple force field stopped shaking. He smiled slightly and said, "Lu's body is that of a human, and he speaks the human language. What race do you think he is?" "Human? That's impossible. He must have been taken over by another race. Races with inferior bloodlines can't cultivate the Demon King force field at all." Although the 4 demon emperors had some guesses in their hearts, after hearing the other party's answer, they still couldn't believe it. The monster they were dealing with was actually a human who had cultivated to the middle stage of the demon emperor realm. Even within the saints, those that walked down the road of a demon emperor were extremely rare individuals. They either inherited a high-level bloodline or had astonishing mortal talent. Humans were born with weak bodies, so how could they cultivate to such a terrifying level? When Lu Kuan heard the words of these demon emperors, he lifted his chin slightly and glanced at the 4 tall figures in front of him. He said proudly, "The true bloodline talent of the human race is not something that you foreign races can understand." As he spoke, he stretched out his hand, and a ball of golden blood appeared in his palm. It condensed into a ball the size of a head, and there were purplish-black lightning particles swimming within it. For example, the energy you used to temporarily trap Lu was easily suppressed by the human bloodline. Mana. How is this possible? The 4 demon emperors focused their eyes and their complexions changed. When they were dealing with Lu Kuan, the 4 demon emperors had joined forces to activate the demon artifact. Not only had they fused the power of their demon origin energy, but they had also added in the unique physical energy of a demon emperor. After exploding the demon origin energy hammer shadow, the mana had fused with the power of their origin energy and temporarily controlled the other party's body. This gave them time to use this supernatural power field cage. But who would have thought that the unique energy of a demon emperor would not only not harm the other party's body, but it would also be collected? This situation could only be achieved by a middle-stage demon emperor with a high-level bloodline. If this human in front of them could do this, didn't it mean that his bloodline was stronger than theirs? Then, the 4 demon emperors looked at the ball of golden blood in Lu Kuan's hand, and their expressions were a little dazed. Was this the human bloodline that the other party spoke of? But the violent aura emitted from it didn't seem like a human at all, but more like some unknown terrifying creature. Lu Kuan looked at the reactions of these demon emperors and thought in his heart. So this special energy of the demon emperors was called mana. Mana was stronger than the fake demon emperor's lightning energy, and it seemed to be fused with demon origin energy. This energy can fuse the force fields of several demon emperors to form a special battle array. Now that I have entered the viscera stage, with the support of my blood origin energy, the force field radiated by the bone treasure is the same as the demon emperors, and it has a color change. Then, can viscera stage body cultivators fuse their source force fields with the help of their blood origin energy to form a special battle array? Lu Kuan, Hong Yuntian, and Xiao Jin's 3 heads 6 arms also fused their power and force fields together. It was even more complete than these demon emperors, and their power was fully superimposed. The combination of the power of 2 heads and 4 arms relied on Hong Yuntian's blood qi and demonic qi to create the flesh doppelganger. The 3 heads and 6 arms was the foundation, and he added the 6-eared macaque's bloodline backlash and the Beast King transformation. 2 heads and 4 arms were a bit better. In the future, demon transformation and bone transformation disciples would be able to use this ability if they met the conditions. But 3 heads and 6 arms would be impossible. But the strange battle formation of these demon emperors was able to combine the power of 3 or even 4 demon emperors together, giving them the strength to fight across realms. This kind of joint mystical ability was what body cultivators truly needed. As these thoughts flashed through his mind, Lu Kuan seemed to sense something. He looked towards the distant astral heaven array. The 4 demon emperors also sensed something. They turned their heads and saw that the spell space wrapped in origin energy clouds began to violently tremble. Faint cracks began to appear, as if it would break at any moment. The demon emperors relaxed. Such a scene meant that Shui-Man and the others would be able to deal with the fake divine transformation human soon. They would soon arrive to support them. This human in front of them was simply a monster. Over half of the essence spirit left behind by the Demon King had been consumed. They feared they wouldn't be able to last much longer. So, after hearing this human speak, the 4 demon emperors felt a great deal of relief. If this human continued to attack, their essence spirits would be consumed at an even faster rate. They simply wouldn't be able to last much longer. But in the next moment, the expressions of the 4 demon emperors froze. In the distance, the origin energy clouds that were about to shatter seemed to be replenished with some sort of energy. They began to heal, returning to their original appearance. What's going on? Has Shui-Man and the others' offensive been blocked? What other special cards do those fake divine transformation human have? Lu Kuan was also a bit surprised. These demon kings were much stronger than he had imagined. Through the perception of the flesh and bone armor, he discovered that Supremacy Fire Spirit and the others had been attacked by the demon kings at almost the same time. Then, he looked at the force field cage that wrapped around them, a thoughtful look on his face. Demon emperors can use their demon essence energy to form special battle arrays. Demon kings have similar energy, so they can naturally combine their force fields. If I hadn't fused the flesh and bone armor with the flesh and blood spirit's supernatural power, these guys would have only been able to hold on for a little longer under the pressure of the Demon King's force fields. The golden liquid that Lu Kuan had given to those fake divine transformation human beings contained the violent bloodline primordial spirit, which had fused with the flesh and bone armor. After his experiments, he discovered that the flesh and blood spirit's supernatural power had greatly increased after entering the Zongyuan stage. The fragments of the armor that had fallen off were equivalent to the flesh and blood spirit's supernatural power. When they entered the enemy's body, they would invade the enemy's physical nerves. As long as the enemy's body was weaker than Lu Kuan's, they would lose control of their physical nerves. Lu Kuan could even control their body. The will of the primordial spirit of a traditional immortal cultivator would invade the weak divine soul. The bloodline primordial spirit of a body cultivator at the Zongyuan stage would attack the body's nervous system. There aren't many bloodline primordial spirits left. Although those demon kings only lost control of their bodies for a moment, it was enough for those fake divine transformation human beings to regain control of the situation. However, the remaining bloodline primordial spirits are only enough for the flesh and blood spirits' supernatural power to be used once. Also, those demon kings have suffered losses, so they will definitely avoid contact. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan sighed and said, Lu originally wanted to talk for a while longer, but those fake divine transformation human beings won't be able to hold on for long. I'd better finish you off as soon as possible. Hearing this, the 4 demon emperors immediately thought of the 3 heads and 6 arms divine power. They looked as if they were facing a great enemy. The demon essence energy in their bodies surged, and the force fields became more stable. Lu Kuan looked at the reaction of these demon emperors, smiled and said, You must be wondering why I only have the violent will in my body this time. The other 2 are gone, and I dare to face 4 demon emperors alone without transforming into 3 heads and 6 arms. His eyes gradually lit up with golden light, and the power of qi and blood in his body began to surge violently. That's because my cultivation has improved, and I have a bloodline divine power that is more suitable for battle. Violent. Accompanied by a deep voice, Lu Kuan's internal organs curled up into a ball. Spots of white light gushed out from the bloodline pool in his internal dantian. The golden violent will in the double helix runes began to tremble violently, as if it would break at any time. On the surface of his body, golden blood vessels emerged from under his skin. The entire surface of his body seemed to be engraved with dense golden tadpole-shaped runes. An extremely violent and terrifying aura surged out from his body. Chapter 1375. Bloodline Ability? What a strange golden rune! The 4 demon emperors suddenly felt an aura that made them tremble. In their nervousness, they even thought that Lu Kuan's swollen and twisted golden blood vessels were some kind of special rune. Immediately after, they felt their minds go into a trance. The human seemed to have disappeared in an instant, and the golden yuan qi in the cage turned into dozens of golden fist shadows, bombarding in all directions. Irregular cracks suddenly appeared on this force field cage that was flashing with lightning energy. Only then did the 4 demon emperors realize that the other party's body did not disappear, but his speed exceeded the limit of what they could see. Before they could infuse energy to reinforce the cage, the latter shattered with a loud bang. The demon emperors felt great danger. They crossed their hands and subconsciously blocked in front of their chests. Almost at the same time, an unparalleled force came and hammered their arms. Boom! The passive force field around them was unable to put up any resistance at all. It directly shattered, and the 4 tall figures were also sent flying. The demon emperors were in a daze. In just 2 breaths of time, not only was the force field cage broken, but the 4 connected demon emperor force fields were also completely separated. Then they came back to their senses. Dark purple lightning energy rolled in their bodies and added to their purple-black scales. Their separated bodies tried to come back together. But in the next breath, several golden fists appeared around them and fiercely bombarded their chests. Bang, 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 accompanied by heavy hammering sounds, it was as if 4 Lu Kuan had appeared in the air and attacked each demon emperor at the same time. Broken purple-black scales surged in the air. In just 1 or 2 breaths of time, more than half of the scales on the demon emperors' bodies fell off, revealing the mangled flesh underneath. What speed is this? It's too terrifying. If this continues, we won't be able to last 10 breaths. Use the demon emperor's energy quickly. The demon emperors endured the pain in their bodies. The demon emperor's bloodline surged. The totem patterns on their faces shone brightly, and an incomparably dark spiritual light appeared. The demon emperor's energy in their bodies also rushed to their heads. A dark purple lightning instantly covered their bodies. Then, their bodies seemed to be unaffected by Lu Kuan's force field. They disappeared and gathered dozens of meters away. Unexpectedly, the fist shadows that filled the sky seemed to have teleported and appeared in the surroundings almost at the same time. Golden fists bombarded them, blasting away the bodies that they were trying to gather. Buzz, the dark purple light continued to flash, and the demon emperors disappeared again. However, this time, they were back to back with their arms wrapped around each other. The demon yuan energy that had fused with the black light intertwined with each other as if they were one, wrapping their bodies. Faced with Lu Kuan's terrifying speed and strength, even if they could break free from the other party's force field and teleport, they would not be able to dodge the attack. These demon emperors simply used the energy bestowed by Lord Demon Venerable to cover their entire body, fusing the energy of the 4 demon emperors together to defend. Under the bombardment of the fist shadows that filled the sky, their mangled flesh and blood were constantly repairing themselves, trying to resist the terrifying attack with their powerful recovery ability. Suddenly, the surrounding golden fist shadows disappeared, and Lu Kuan's body that was full of golden blood vessels appeared in front of them. The muscles on his arms were twisted, and golden blades gushed out from his palms, forming a pair of golden sabers. Then, Lu Kuan turned into a golden whirlwind and circled around the demon emperors. golden saber shadows slashed down, each with a stronger attack power than the previous fist shadows. The recovery speed of the 4 demon emperors' bodies was far from being able to keep up with the speed of their injuries. The muscles on their chests were gradually worn away, vaguely revealing the glowing internal organs underneath. What kind of energy is that black light gushing out from their totems? Although this energy is scarce, it can greatly increase the power of the Demon Emperor's demon yuan energy. Lu Kuan kept brandishing the Snow Soul dual sabers. This pair of weapons had been recast by him with the violent bloodline of the Viscera origin stage. Each saber was equivalent to the previous dual sabers combined into one. Under the suppression of the powerful force field, these demon emperors could not absorb any demon yuan energy at all. They could only rely on the energy in their bodies and the strength of their bodies to resist. 10 breaths have passed. Although these demon emperors can only last 10 breaths with their special energy against the violent divine ability and the Snow Soul dual sabers, my bloodline divine ability only has this much time left. After using it, there will be half of their blood yuan energy left. If they still have the energy to use the battle formation from before. At this moment, Lu Kuan's thoughts were interrupted. His senses spread throughout his body, and he suddenly realized that there was a surge of energy accumulating in his muscle fibers, bones, internal organs, and blood. His body felt like it was about to explode at any time. What's going on? My body's condition is not right. But the double helix structure is rather stable. I can at least last 10 breaths. Could this be the energy that was not fully expressed last time? The feeling of my internal organs exploding is just like the first time I used the full elemental power. My internal organs are exploding. Could it be? He seemed to have thought of something and stopped attacking. The Snow Soul dual sabers turned into blades and entered his body again. They turned into a layer of golden armor and wrapped around the ball of internal organs. Lu Kuan hesitated for a moment. Then, he gritted his teeth and released the inexplicable energy that had accumulated in every part of his body. Boom! The senses that spread throughout his body seemed to have heard an explosion. The golden blood vessels on the surface of his body swelled even more. Those tiny blood vessels also appeared clearly. The force field outside his body became blurry and collapsed inwards rapidly. It seemed to be suppressing his body that was filled with an explosive aura. This energy, at this moment, Lu Kuan's eyes were filled with dense golden blood vessels. His lifeless golden eyes looked at the 4 demon emperors in front of him, and he raised his right fist that was filled with blood vessels. There was no golden light on this fist. There was only a thin layer of distorted force field. The speed of the punch was not fast. It could be seen with the naked eye. However, wherever it passed, a thick spatial crack was forcefully torn open. Rumble! In this world, a low thunder sound like a heavenly tribulation suddenly sounded. Then, a suffocating aura appeared in the sky. It was like a brilliant heavenly might. It seemed to be suppressing this seemingly ordinary human fist. The power of the realm? His attack has exceeded the limit of the realm. The power of a late-stage demon emperor? How is this possible? The 4 demon emperors felt the heavenly might and the shaking fist that tore the space apart. Their faces were filled with horror. The purple-black light on the surface of their bodies kept flickering. However, under the invisible pressure of the surrounding realm and the fist, their teleportation ability could not be used for a while. They could only stimulate all the remaining demonic yuan energy in their bodies. The 4 demon emperors were wrapped in purple-black light balls. Seeing this, Lu Kuan's face suddenly twisted. He seemed to be under great pressure. The muscles on his arm trembled. He opened his fist with some difficulty and turned it into a palm. A layer of vibrating force field appeared in his palm. With this action, the blood vessels on the surface of his body broke one by one. Clouds of golden blood mist burst out and dyed his whole body golden. That ordinary palm was like a lover's caress. It gently patted the purple-black light outside the chest of a demon emperor. There were no violent shock waves or air waves. The 8 eyeballs of the 4 demon emperors burst into blood mist in an instant. There were dull explosions in their bodies, as if something had broken. However, at this moment, the totems on the faces of 3 of the demon emperors lit up. Three balls of thick black light mixed with dark purple thunderballs all poured into the body of the Luo Yu demon emperor. This demon emperor's body seemed to be healed in an instant. The light around his body shone brightly. He disappeared and reappeared hundreds of feet away. Then, the force field around his body distorted, and he fled into the distance. The bodies of the remaining 3 demon emperors went limp. They were held back by an invisible force. Lu Kuan, who had turned into a golden blood man, floated next to him. The twisted and bursting golden blood vessels and the violent aura disappeared. Instead, there was a layer of pale golden light film on the surface of his skin. The terrifying heavenly might that seemed like the power of the realm seemed to have lost its target and gradually dissipated. Lu Kuan sensed this and breathed a sigh of relief. He opened his mouth slightly and spat out 3 balls of golden blood. They entered the bodies of the 3 demon emperors. Then, with a wave of his hand, he put away the 3 demon emperor corpses. Then, the light in his body shone brightly and he shot in the direction of the Luo Yu demon emperor. His speed was obviously faster. Soon, the man and the demon emperor disappeared into the horizon, leaving behind a dark blue spatial crack. This spatial crack continued to split open under some kind of aftershock. It spread in all directions like a spider web until it reached hundreds of feet away. Hundreds of dark blue spatial cracks of different sizes intertwined to form some kind of special shape. From afar, it looked like an incomparably huge palm of the human race was silently imprinted in the air. Chapter 1376. Inside the Big Dipper Formation, almost all the cultivators' attention was attracted by the origin chi clouds in the sky. The trembling clouds and the cracks all indicated that this terrifying restriction was about to collapse. Through the gaps, the immortal cultivators could vaguely see a twisted, deep purple halo and several tall devils waving their weapons inside. Those demon kings have surrounded the Soul Formation seniors. 7 Soul Formation seniors and Abbot Ji Yuan are still unable to suppress them with the help of the Big Dipper Formation. The strength of the demon kings is actually so terrifying. Master Lu is holding back 4 stronger demon emperors by himself. Doesn't that mean he won't be able to hold on for long? What should we do? Just as these immortal cultivators were in a state of panic and worry, those tall devil kings suddenly flew backwards, revealing several figures flashing with golden light. Soon after, the violently vibrating origin chi clouds stabilized, and the cracks closed one after another. The restriction is back. Was that the Demon King's explosion? The Soul Formation seniors are controlling the situation again? That's great. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. But at this time, they felt a terrifying aura suddenly appear in their surroundings. What's going on with the demonic fog? So much demonic origin chi appeared. A large amount of black light surged out from the demonic fog on the ground and gathered towards the battleship where the battle was taking place. The overwhelming devil primordial chi exuded a pressure comparable to the primordial chi manifestation. The immortal cultivators who were close to the devil primordial chi even had their dermic powers suppressed, and the magic treasures in the sky began to sway. This is the phenomenon of a demon king breakthrough? Which one of these demon generals broke through to the demon king level? A demon king breakthrough can happen in such a short time. Not good. The demon kings above are making their move. Be careful. Just as these demonic origin chi phenomena appeared, the origin chi clouds in the sky that were about to close up shot out 6 extremely solid black light halos. Some were like giant hammers, some were like large sabers, and some were like crescent moons. Although they all had different shapes, they contained the terrifying origin chi manifestation power. These 6 terrifying Demon King's attacks were all aimed at the battleship where the battle was taking place. Buzz Buzz, the other great cultivators guarding the other 4 nodes of the array formation, were the first to discover the attack in the sky. They raised their magic power and activated the spirit treasures in front of them. Rich vital energy pressure soared into the sky. A yellow hill, a green arrow, a fiery red snake, and a purple thunderball. 4 types of spells and abilities that contained concentrated vital energy shot out from the nodes. However, Yu Longfei and Lu Jinyuan were currently restraining the 10 late-stage demon generals. In the face of this sudden situation, they had no choice but to overdraw their nascent soul's source and barely managed to shoot out an ice blade and a golden sword. Because they were hastily cast, the amount of Yuan Qi contained in these 2 Yuan Qi manifestation spells was less than half of what it had been before. The 6 divine powers, which were comparable to the full power strike of a pseudo-soul formation stage cultivator, clashed with the Devil King's attack and formed a colorful ball of light in the air. Boom! In just a breath's time, the ball of energy exploded, and 6 different colored energy waves rolled out in all directions. Then, 5 black figures rushed out from the center of the energy waves and flew toward the battleship below. Among them, the axe and hammer shadows were the most solid, while the other 3 turned into black balls of light. Although the weakest Demon King's attack was completely destroyed, due to Yu Longfei and Lu Jinyuan's hasty casting, the axe and hammer shadows contained at least half of their power. In the face of a soul formation stage cultivator's attack, the cultivators and demons near the battleship immediately retreated. Under the pressure of the origin chi manifestation, their magic power and demonic power were greatly suppressed. Not to mention the attacks of their magic treasures, even the power of their magic power shields would be greatly reduced. However, at this moment, the cultivators suddenly discovered that there was an extremely burly demon left at the front of the battleship. He was tall and large, and his eyes were closed. There were streaks of purplish-black lightning curling around the scales on his body. The surrounding demonic Yuan Qi was converging toward his body, but this terrifying energy didn't enter his body. Instead, it formed a series of extremely solid black halos 3 feet around his body. Within these black halos was a layer of twisted force field. Just as the 5 remaining Demon King's attacks were about to reach the battleship, the demon general abruptly opened his eyes. The invisible force field around his body swept up the surrounding demonic Yuan Qi halos and quickly collapsed inward. It fused with the purplish-black lightning on the surface of his body, forming a purplish-black film of light over his scales. Then, he raised his fists into the air, and the 5 Demon King's halos seemed to be attracted by something. They arced through the air and disappeared into his fists, fusing together to form 2 solid fists 3 feet in diameter in the blink of an eye. The scales and joints on the fists were clearly visible, and there were even bone spikes on the surface of the fist. Countless profound demonic patterns were engraved on the surface of the fists, and a terrifying aura unique to the origin chi manifestation began to emanate. Roar. An earth-shattering roar suddenly rang out, and a 20-foot-tall demon ape shot out from below the battleship. As it ran through the air, the surrounding demonic Yuan Qi rapidly converged toward it, forming a black and a white pair of massive halos in its fist. Although the ape's fists contained extremely dense Yuan Qi, it seemed to be unable to truly condense. The halos inside tumbled and shrank, as if they were at the critical point of some kind of power. The tall demon general's expression changed slightly when he sensed the aura of the demon ape. He waved his giant fists and turned to meet the attack. At this moment, a powerful bloodline power suddenly surged out of the demon ape's body. The black and white yuan qi on its fists seemed to break through some kind of limit and quickly condensed into giant black and white fists. The palm lines and hair on the fists could be clearly seen. Violent yuan qi energy clashed with each other, and the monkey and demon's yuan qi fists came to a stalemate. Waves of yuan qi surged in all directions. Boom! Accompanied by a deafening explosion, the man and demon were sent flying back at the same time. The tall demon general stumbled back on the deck, and every step he took created a loud sound. He retreated several hundred feet. The power of a demon emperor, how is it possible? His purplish-black pupils flashed with disbelief. He raised his head and saw that as the demonic ape flew backwards, its body was constantly shrinking. It went from 20 feet tall to a golden-furred monkey that was only a few feet tall before it fell into the demonic mist. Seeing this, the demon general's expression relaxed a lot. He didn't have time to think about the origin of the demon ape. Demonic light flashed in his hand, and a huge flat broadsword appeared. Under the effect of the light film surging with purple-black lightning, a large amount of demonic yuan energy converged, forming a layer of solid yuan energy blades outside the demonic weapon. He raised his thick demonic arm high and slashed at the battleship below him. Immediately, the hard deck of the battleship was left with a series of slashes. Not far away, Lu Jinyuan and Yu Longfei activated their spirit treasure replica again. A blue ice blade and a golden sword shot out. Unexpectedly, the fake demon emperor stretched out his other hand, and a demonic axe appeared in his hand. It flashed with the same purple-black lightning energy. When the ice blade and the golden sword approached each other, the yuan qi inside began to dissipate. Crack! When the two sides collided, the two yuan qi manifestation divine powers were directly shattered by the axe. The dissipated yuan qi then gathered on the demonic axe under the effect of some kind of force, forming a yuan qi axe blade that heavily slashed at the deck. Seeing this, some of the more knowledgeable cultivators suddenly thought of something, and their faces were filled with horror. A demon that can control yuan qi. Could it be a demon emperor? No, a demon emperor is much more terrifying than a demon king. I'm afraid this is a fake demon emperor. In the immortal cultivation world, his combat power is not inferior to a real demon king. Accompanied by more than 10 slashing sounds, a huge crack appeared on the deck and quickly expanded. The fake demon emperor's face was ferocious. The demonic weapon in his hand flashed, and two solid black and white yuan qi blades were shot at the crack. Then, there were screams coming from inside, and many of the spirit lights on the battleship dimmed instantly. Buzz, the light beam above the ice element array node also dimmed, and the yuan qi cloud in the sky shook slightly, but it was not particularly violent. It seemed that it was still a little bit away from collapsing. The fake demon emperor on the deck was about to continue attacking the cabin, but after seeing this scene, he was stunned. He jumped into the air and shot toward the neighboring battleship where Lu Jinyuan was. He ran in the air, stepping on the void with his feet, as if he could borrow the air for strength. But at this moment, the demon spirit yuan qi in the middle of the two battleships seemed to be greatly stimulated. It kept gathering from the demonic fog and above, forming circles of black and white yuan qi halos that surrounded the fake demon emperor's body. The fake demon emperor was stunned for a moment, and then the purple-black energy in his body trembled. These yuan qi halos shattered, but the surrounding demon spirit yuan qi seemed to be endless, gathering one after another. This speed exceeded the speed of destruction, and he was trapped in place for a while. Roar! Suddenly, a deep dragon roar resounded throughout the battlefield. All the human cultivators and even the excited demons were stunned and couldn't help but look at the source of the sound. In the demonic fog below the fake demon emperor, two bright lanterns, one purple and one black, appeared. Accompanied by the fog, a huge dragon head rushed out. The purple and black lanterns were the dragon's eyes. The purple eye exuded an extremely brutal aura, and the black eye flashed with an unyielding will. This dragon head was wrapped in a layer of purple-black scales, and the pair of antlers on its head were like two rugged bone spurs, looking extremely evil. Below the dragon head, there was a thick snake-like body more than 300 feet long. Its whole body was covered in purple-black scales, and it had 5 dragon claws. On the knuckles of the claws there were also bone spurs of different sizes. Around its body there was a 4-foot twisting force field. The black and white demon spirit Yuan Qi gathered from the demonic fog below and in the air, mixing in this twisting force field, like a 2-color cloud. This giant dragon seemed to be wandering in the black and white Yuan Qi cloud, exuding an awe-inspiring majesty. Chapter 1377. A giant dragon of more than 300 feet. This old man had the honor of seeing the true body of the Swanee Dragon King. It was only about 10 feet long. Could it be the legendary true dragon? But why is its aura so evil? The twisting force field around its body seems to be the power of a high-level body cultivator of the body refining pavilion. All the cultivators on the battlefield stared at the giant dragon in a daze. They had never seen such an incredible creature. It was like an evil true dragon that was a combination of body cultivator power, demon flesh, and the body of a true dragon. The surrounding demons were also stunned. The appearance and aura of the giant dragon in front of them were very similar to the demonic dragon of the demon realm. However, they only had the disciples of the sacred clan this time. There were no demonic beasts at all. It was rumored that the demonic dragon was transformed from the true dragon of this immortal realm. Could it be that the one in front of them was the descendant of the demonic dragon that had been left in this realm? But why did this demonic dragon have the force field of a demon king, just like those strange humans and the long-armed ape monkeys? What happened in this immortal realm? Why did the demonic ape, demonic dragon, and humans all have the force field of a demon king? The demons on the battlefield were all a bit confused. Everything they saw in this battle had completely overturned their understanding. Roar! In the loud dragon roar, the huge purple-black dragon body rushed toward the fake demon emperor in the light of vitality. As the evil demonic dragon approached, the surrounding demonic spirit vitality surged even more violently. Circles of black and white vitality halo surged out at an even faster speed. In a short while, it drowned the fake demon emperor that had just broken through, forming a black and white light cocoon. Suddenly, the demonic dragon opened its mouth. 2 different kinds of will, one brutal and the other unyielding, soared into the sky. The black and white light cocoon that was more than 10 feet tall seemed to be strongly attracted, and went straight into the dark mouth. This light cocoon was like a shining black and white dragon pearl that was bitten in the dragon's mouth. Then, the demonic dragon's crocodile-like jaws surged out the same twisting force field as its body, squeezing the black and white light cocoon. The latter's vitality halo quickly shrank and condensed. At the same time, balls of thick black liquid were secreted from the enormous dragon's mouth. Inside the liquid, there were traces of purple-black lightning. With an extremely greedy and evil aura, the liquid surged toward the gradually shrinking light cocoon. Then, the demonic dragon with purplish-black scales dove into the thick demonic mist. However, just as the dragon's body was about to disappear, the dragon tail with 5 bone spurs suddenly shook, throwing out 6 tiny bodies shining with silver light. With the help of this powerful swing, these figures rushed to the left side of the battleship at an astonishing speed. It was unknown whether the 5 late-stage devil generals who were facing Lu Jinyuan were shocked or confident in their strength, but they didn't dodge. Instead, they tightened their grip on the devil treasures in their hands and glanced at those figures. What a powerful cold aura! There's a faint corpse chi and cold en energy. It seems to be the underworld insect clan. These figures seemed to be 6 human cultivators, 4 men and 2 women. Their bodies were wrapped in a layer of silver scale armor, and a faint corpse chi was emitted from the armor. They were serene and the 5 corpse kings of the middle underworld mountain. When they saw that the late-stage devil generals didn't dodge, they immediately waved their sharp nails and circulated the cold energy in their bodies to launch an attack. Bang bang, dang dang. Accompanied by the sounds of collisions, these 11 bodies of different sizes began to fight in close combat in midair. The high-level silver-armored corpse was comparable to a great cultivator and also had the strength of 1,000,000 gene. In addition, the 5 corpse kings all had different attribute. In a one-on-one battle, they were not inferior to the late-stage devil generals. Together with serene, they quickly gained the upper hand. At the same time, on the right side of the battleship, from the demonic fog below the 5 late-stage devil generals confronting Yulongfei, 5 burly figures suddenly rushed out. They stepped on the void, their bodies shining with the light of hundreds of treasures. Their speed was astonishing. These late-stage devil generals were distracted by the demonic dragon and silver-armored corpse on the other side, so they didn't have time to notice and were directly surrounded by these 5 humans. Demon King Force Field? Be careful, it's those strange humans. Although the 5 late-stage devil generals were startled, there was no fear in their eyes. Thick demonic energy surged in their bodies, absorbing the surrounding demonic yuan qi, dyeing their weapons and bodies with a layer of halo. Not long ago, they had seen the brawny man's battle and knew that these strange humans had the Demon King force field. In a situation where they couldn't borrow strength from the void, they would be at a disadvantage. Therefore, they floated back to back in the air, counteracting each other's recoil. But just as these late-stage devil generals raised their demonic treasures and prepared to meet the attack, they saw a 3-meter-tall and 5-meter-wide curved stone tablet appear in front of the 5 humans. Amidst the muffled rumbling in the air, a terrifying invisible force suddenly gushed out from the front of the 5 stone steels, pressing in from 5 different directions. These 5 late-stage devil generals were almost instantly submerged in a circle of distorted air, the powerful squeezing force unceasingly attacking their demonic bodies. The demonic treasures in the hands of 2 demon generals even accidentally slipped out of their hands. Under the effect of the intertwining pressure, they slid out of the force field. The remaining demon generals put away their demonic treasures in time to avoid losing them. Under the pressure of the terrifying force field, they were completely unable to move. Their arms were raised high, maintaining their attacking posture, while their bodies were completely exposed to the squeezing force. The scales on their bodies were even slowly collapsing. These devil generals closed their eyes, but their scale-covered eyelids were trembling. Their hearts were filled with fear. A long-range force field exceeding 1,000,000 gene. What kind of treasures are these 5 stone tablets? They can actually use the Demon King's divine ability. Damn it, the demonic yuan qi has been isolated. I can't absorb it. Calm down, these 5 have not reached the Demon King realm. They can't maintain this divine ability for a long time. Yes, use the thick demonic power to resist and hold on. With this thought in mind, the 5 late-stage devil generals calmed down. They concentrated on mobilizing the thick demonic power in their bodies, adding it to the scales on their bodies, forming a layer of demonic power light film to resist the endless squeezing force. The 5 people around them were Li Qianfeng and the other second-generation bone transformation disciples. After seeing their opponents trapped by the 5 origin-level stone tablets, they let out a sigh of relief. Then the air beneath their feet slightly distorted as they stepped into the void, bringing the 5 origin-level stone tablets with them as they flew towards the distant metal attribute array formation node. The 2 teams on the left and right of the battleship had a total of 10 late-stage devil generals. The moment the dragon entered the demonic fog, they were simultaneously attacked. The several dozen devil generals that had just left the battleship to avoid the Yuan Qi manifestation were all shocked. They wanted to rush to their rescue as soon as possible. But at this time, from the demonic fog beneath their feet, a body shimmering with golden light flew out. It contained a terrifying sharpness, like a human-shaped sword. With unparalleled speed, it rushed into the group of devil generals. Several early-stage devil generals were grazed by this sword light, and the scales on their waist and abdomen cracked. The rest of the devil generals tried to attack with their demonic treasures, but who knew that this human-shaped sword was not only astonishingly fast, but also had a twisting force field around it, making its movements extremely agile. Immediately afterward, a burly man, whose body size was no less than that of a demon, rushed out of the demonic fog. His body surface was twisted with a layer of earthy yellow force field. His arms hugged his head, and he was like a rock as he rushed into the crowd of demons. The demon generals on both sides of his body instantly felt their body weight increase by 100-fold. Although the burly man's charging speed was relatively slow, the change in weight caused the demon treasures they were brandishing to miss their target. And the devil general in front of the burly man found that his body weight seemed to have disappeared, and he was easily knocked away. For a time, the several dozen devil generals were thrown into chaos by the two figures, one fast and one slow. From the appearance of the evil demonic dragon to the entanglement of the 10 late-stage devil generals, and then to the chaos of the devil army, everything that happened in a flash dazzled the surrounding immortal cultivators. But they soon came back to their senses. Each and every one of them looked excited. The magic power in their bodies surged, and magic treasures and spells all over the sky rushed into the group of devil generals that had turned the sky upside down. At this time, even a fool could see that the terrifying evil demonic dragon was the trump card of the body refining pavilion. In other words, from the beginning of the battle until now, the body refining pavilion had not only dealt with all the late-stage devil generals, but also took away a newly promoted fake demon emperor. And Master Lu had entangled 4 demon emperors by himself. The combat strength of a human body cultivator was so terrifying. Chapter 1378. The 5 late-stage demon generals who were trapped by the stone steels heaved a sigh of relief when they found that they could still hold on for a while. According to their deduction, since the demon kings could break the restriction once, they could do it a second time. The quasi-soul formation stage cultivator's vital essence was far inferior to that of the orthodox soul formation stage cultivators. They could not fight for a long time. As long as they could hold on, there would be a chance to turn the situation around. Then, the demon generals released their divine senses and found that the scene around them was changing rapidly. Their expressions changed. Obviously, the other party wanted to borrow the power of the other cultivators to attack them. Therefore, their divine senses went around the stone steels and rushed toward the 5 human cultivators who were suspected to be activating the stone steels. They tried to interfere with their divine senses. But then, they found that the heads of the 5 human cultivators were empty. It seemed that there were only skulls and scalp. Not to mention the sea of consciousness, there was not even a brain. The divine senses attack directly missed. When they wanted to continue to investigate, the other party's physical body surged with terrifying chi and blood, forming a faint crystal blood membrane on the surface of the body. Their divine senses were immediately greatly hindered. These humans don't have sea of consciousness? The chi and blood are so vigorous. The demon generals were about to continue to probe when they suddenly felt a terrifying sharp force rising not far away. They could not help but look over with their divine senses. In front of them was a metal element array node. At the front of one of the battleships, there was an ordinary-looking middle-aged man. Behind him, there were 18 core formation stage cultivators sitting cross-legged. They formed a special formation. Waves of demonic chi intertwined with each other. The demonic chi in the middle-aged man's body was surging. He had almost reached the peak of the nascent soul stage. His 10 fingers were flashing non-stop, forming sword seals containing sharp power in the sky. Above his head there were 18 extremely thick golden sword lights. These sword lights were of different length. The shortest was 5 feet long, and the longest was 7 feet long. The dense primordial chi in this node gradually gathered together with the middle-aged man's sword technique, and the 18 thick sword lights were dyed with a faint golden halo. Sword array. The complexions of these late-stage demon generals changed drastically. Right now, they were being controlled by the 5 stone tablets and were unable to dodge or resist. If they were to fall into the sword array, wouldn't that be the same as being live targets? At this moment, a stone tablet was suddenly taken out by the female cultivator behind him. The pentagonal array had turned into a quadrangular array. One of the 5 squeezing forces had disappeared, causing the squeezing forces inside to become chaotic. The late-stage devil general who was facing the gap immediately felt 4 terrifying waves of chi attack his back. His tall devil body was sent flying by these berserk forces. Not good. Before this late-stage devil general could stabilize his body, he saw a sky full of golden sword lights. These incomparably thick sword lights formed a dense and bloated sword formation, enveloping him. A demonic light flashed, and a demonic blade appeared in his hand. The demonic power in his body was tumbling, trying to absorb the surrounding demonic aura. But to his surprise, the black halo around him trembled and did not gather towards him. Instead, under the inexplicable restriction of the sword array, it surged towards the 18 sword lights, dyeing them a dark gold color. The late-stage devil general's expression changed. He could feel the terrifying might contained within these sword lights. Other than the sword lights that were imbued with demonic aura, there was also an intense treasure light within. Every sword light was a top-grade sword treasure. Clang clang, accompanied by countless sword hums, the 18 thick sword lights rushed over from all directions. The late-stage devil general did not dare to receive them head-on. With a turn of his body, he dodged the first sword light from the side. Following that, he raised the demonic treasure in his hand, attempting to deflect the second sword light from the front. But at this moment, the first thick sword light curved in an unimaginable manner, as if it had a life of its own. There was even a rich blood energy within it. It was like a contracting spring, as the rich dark gold sword light curved and condensed into a dark gold sphere of light. When it bounced up, it brought with it a strong gust of wind. With astonishing speed, the golden sphere of light struck the scales on the back of the devil general's waist. Almost at the same time, the sword light in front of the demon general that was about to be struck by the demonic saber also curled up. As it shrank and expanded, a dark golden ball of sword light crashed into the chest of the demon general that was covered in purplish-black scales. Boom! Boom! 2 destructive sword beams exploded. Other than the destructive power of the Yuan Qi within, they also seemed to contain considerable strength. They shattered the scales on the back of the devil general's waist and chest. Following that, the remaining sword lights transformed into tiny sword beams that pierced through the cracks in the scales, piercing into the flesh beneath. The devil general let out a painful howl as the demonic power in his body tumbled, as he attempted to flee into the distance. However, at this moment, his consciousness suddenly discovered that the 2 thick sword lights that had struck him had turned into 2 humans. This, just as he was in a daze, the next dark gold sword light struck him. Boom, 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 1 thick sword light after another struck the devil general's body in the same manner. The late-stage devil general's body was struck by countless destructive sword beams. His flesh and blood were constantly being torn apart. There was even an evil energy that attempted to devour the essence of his flesh and blood. Amidst the dense sword light, he seemed to have given up on resisting. His consciousness chased after the human-shaped swords. The fleshly bodies of the humans who were struck by the sword light drew an arc in the air and returned to the battleship one after another. Under the middle-aged man's sword incantation, the fleshly bodies were dyed golden again and turned back into thick sword light. They charged into the sword formation again. Using the body as a sword treasure, in a trance, the Devil General was blasted away by the terrifying destructive power. From the corner of his blurry eyes, he saw the human woman who had been controlling the stone tablet. She floated outside the sword array, a force field twisting around her. Her arms were crossed as she quietly looked at him. The cold gaze in her eyes was the same as how they looked at humans. Boom! After more than 10 sword lights bombarded him consecutively, the body of this late-stage demon general was in tatters. Under the effects of the surrounding sword formation, the demon nascent soul in his body was unable to teleport and was directly shattered in his dantian by the concentrated sword lights. His broken corpse was taken into the hands of the female lead outside the sword array. Then, these human-shaped swords returned to the battleship one by one and were dyed with a dazzling golden light again. The square array that had turned into a 4-elemental stone tablet had another opening, and a late-stage Devil General was ejected high up in the sky of the Big Dipper formation, within the vital chi cloud restriction. The Devil Kings could clearly sense that there was a flaw in the restriction formation. Even the barriers around the pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators had dimmed a little. This meant that the pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivator had not only succeeded in breaking through, but also destroyed one of the battleship. But as time passed, there were no other changes to the array. The Devil Kings immediately felt strange. The fake Demon Emperor's strength in this realm was not inferior to the Devil King's. The cultivators below could not resist at all. This time, it was enough to destroy the Big Dipper array. It was not like now that there were no changes. Could it be that the human race had a hidden fake soul formation cultivator? Not to mention one fake soul formation cultivator, even 2 fake soul formation cultivators were no match for the fake Demon Emperor. Just as the Devil Kings were deep in thought, the totems on their faces suddenly flashed 3 times in a row. They were stunned at first. Then, they revealed a look of horror. The Demon Emperor's divine soul has been destroyed. No matter how powerful that monster is, it is at most the realm's limit. 3 Demon Emperors died at the same time. How is this possible? Now, only the Luo Yu Demon Emperor is still alive. He may be struggling to hold on and needs our help. Maybe that monster is also seriously injured. No matter what, we have to get out of here. We can only overdraw our devil chi and physical origin. The 6 Devil Kings gritted their teeth, and their bodies all trembled. Their strong bodies quickly shrank as if they had lost half of their flesh. As their bodies shrank, the purple-black lightning on the surface of their bodies suddenly became dazzling. Then, the lightning energy and devil chi all surged into the demonic artifacts in their hands. The front of these demonic artifacts suddenly appeared with extremely solid weapon shadows. These shadows continued to extend until they were 100 feet long. A horrifying power spread from within. The 6 gigantic vital chi sabers and hammers were waved by the Devil Kings and violently slammed into the barrier surrounding the fake soul formation cultivators in the middle. Boom! A terrifying wave of vital chi rolled out. Cracks appeared on this vital chi barrier almost instantly. Then, it shattered with a loud bang. The 6 vital chi sabers and hammers, which had dimmed significantly, then drowned the fake soul formation cultivators inside. Rumble, violent Yuan Qi energy overflowed in all directions. The surrounding Yuan Qi cloud restriction began to tremble, and cracks began to appear. These Devil Kings used some kind of secret technique to directly break the restriction of the Big Dipper formation. At this moment, these Devil Kings suddenly looked toward the west. Through the gradually splitting vital chi cloud, they saw a dazzling golden body shooting toward them from the horizon, accompanied by an extremely violent intent. That monster is back! Our primordial spirits are damaged and our physical bodies are overdrawn. We are no match for it. There is still some time. Let's take a few nascent souls and recover. These devil kings looked toward the center with ferocious eyes. Those fake soul formation cultivators had all survived the terrifying attack with the help of their golden armor. However, the golden armor outside their bodies had become extremely dim. As for fire spirit supremacy and ice spirit supremacy, their armor was tattered and hung on their bodies. They seemed to have completely lost their defensive power. In the next moment, 6 gigantic demonic artifacts shot over from afar. They split into 2 groups and charged toward the 2 fake soul formation cultivators from the 5 spirits temple. Boom! Fear appeared in fire spirit supremacy and ice spirit supremacy's eyes. They only had time to summon their vital chi before they were drowned by the thick black light. Their physical bodies were reduced to ashes. However, before the nascent souls inside could do anything, streaks of invisible power fell. The Devil Kings had come to the side. 2 of the Devil Kings opened their mouths and sucked the 2 nascent souls into their mouths. Then, the 6 Devil Kings ignored the remaining fake soul formation cultivators. They merged into one and fled into the distance at an astonishing speed. Chapter 1379. High up in the skies of the Broken Nation, 6 thinner demon kings were rapidly flying through the air. Some had looks of shock, some were panic-stricken, and some even revealed looks of despair. Our clansmen on the ground were actually defeated by that immortal cultivator. There's no trace of the fake demon emperor. 4 demon emperors tried their best, but they weren't able to wound him, and 3 of them even died. I fear this level of combat strength is similar to a late-stage demon emperor. It has surpassed the limits of this realm. What do we do? That fellow's speed is much faster than ours. Sooner or later he'll overtake us. The aura of the all-moon demon emperor's divine soul is still here. We can only hide ourselves and find all-moon. We have to find a way to inform the Lord Demon Lord about the situation of this world. The leader, Blood Barbarian Demon King, said, "Blood Plate, we still have some demon energy left in our bodies. Divide our fake soul formation nascent souls into 6 sources and separate them to heal." A sturdy demon king nodded with a heavy expression. At the same time, deep purple lightning gushed out from his and Blood Barbarian's demon bodies, condensing within their bodies. The sturdy black nascent souls in their dantians each held a blue and a red nascent soul in their arms. Soon, traces of lightning energy gushed out from their dantians, surrounding the 2 nascent souls. But at this moment, an incomparably wild will rose up from the depths of the 2 nascent souls. A small mass of golden blood gushed out from them. Almost at the same time, the 2 nascent souls were plated with gold, as if they were wearing small armor that blocked out the deep purple lightning energy. Blood Plate and Blood Barbarian were stunned for a moment. Then, as they thought of something, their complexions suddenly changed. This is bad. They quickly opened their mouths, wanting to spit out the 2 nascent souls. But as a result, a small mass of golden blood separated from the 2 nascent souls at an astonishing speed. The golden blood stuck to the nascent souls of the 2 demon kings, causing the circulation of their demon essence to stagnate. Without the support of Blood Plate and Blood Barbarian's demon essence, the speed of the 6 demon kings' combined escape light was suddenly halved. The other 4 demon kings all looked over. They saw that Blood Plate and Blood Barbarian had pained expressions. The demon essence within their bodies was extremely unstable, and the true demon intent was tumbling about. Their bodies also emitted an incomparably wild will. That monster's will. How did it enter your bodies? Schweman's body shivered. He said with difficulty, It's that monster. He tampered with the two nascent souls. Quick! Split up and escape. Don't worry about us. Otherwise, only death awaits us. This, as they spoke, an incomparably wild will fell down from the heavens. Schweman and Schwepan's bodies violently trembled. They couldn't even control their bodies, and their demonic hands tried to grab at the other demon kings. Let's go! Go into hiding and find the Luo Yu demon emperor. The next time the spatial rift opens, I must inform the sacred race of the situation here. Humiliation and unwillingness flashed in the eyes of the other 4 demon kings. Then, the demonic chi in their bodies surged and shot off in 4 different directions. Leaving behind the bloodline and the blood plate, the 2 devil kings floated in the air, their bodies trembling uncontrollably. It was as if they had lost control of their devil yuan and body. Buzz, not long after, the demonic spirit yuan chi in the air started to roll and collapse inwards, forming 2 golden palms that were about 10 feet in size. The palm lines on these 2 giant palms were faintly visible. There were also strange twin spiral runes that shined on them, emitting an incomparably terrifying aura. One from the left and one from the back, bringing with it a violent wind as they grabbed the 2 demon kings. The surrounding space even rippled as these fingers slid about, creating faint blue sparks in the air. Then, a tall and sturdy man appeared, leaving behind afterimages. He stretched out his hands and a fist-sized mass of golden blood gushed out from each of his palms. This mass of blood contained a wild will and a mystical aura as it struck towards the 2 demon kings trapped in the golden origin energy palms. Like blood dissolving in water, these 2 masses of blood turned into a blood mist that directly fused into the dark purple scales. The 2 demon kings immediately stopped struggling, only their eyes emitting an incomparably panicked light. Then, the tall and sturdy man waved his hand and took the 2 demon kings into his storage space. Then, the air around him twisted and he turned into a beam of golden light that chased after one of the demon kings. In the Big Dipper formation, the battle between the immortal cultivators and the demon race was coming to an end. Under the siege of the body refining pavilion's body cultivators and a large number of nascent soul cultivators, dozens of demon generals were utterly defeated. They were either dead or injured, and the rest were fleeing in all directions under the cover of the demonic fog. Just when the immortal cultivator's morale was greatly boosted, the origin energy cloud in the sky suddenly trembled violently, and a terrifying origin energy pressure rolled in the air. From the cracked restriction cloud, many immortal cultivators saw the 2 soul formation seniors' dharma bodies being shattered and their nascent souls being devoured. Immediately afterward, the 6 demon kings merged into a single streak of light and shot toward the eastern part of the formation. 2 soul formation seniors have fallen. The demon kings have the upper hand. Why are they running away? Suddenly, a golden figure appeared in the sky in the west. The air around it was distorted, and a tall and sturdy figure could be vaguely seen. It was chasing in the direction of the 6 demon kings at an astonishing speed. Just when the immortal cultivators were puzzled, Abbot Ji Yuan's slightly tired voice suddenly came from the sky. The 4 demon emperors of the demon race have been killed, and the 6 demon kings have been greatly injured. They are being chased by Master Lu. We, the immortal cultivators, have won this great battle against the demon race. The immortal cultivators on the battlefield were in a daze at first, but then they cheered. Many of them were so excited that they shot colorful flames into the sky. Since the ancient times, the demon race had been a nightmare that lingered in the ears of high-level immortal cultivators. 70,000 years ago, the immortal cultivators joined forces with the demon race and barely repelled the demon race. But after that, the demon race was purged by the immortal cultivators and chased out of the land. The origin energy of heaven and earth in the immortal cultivation world gradually became turbid. Even if high-level immortal cultivators comprehended the power of will on their own, they could only cultivate to the pseudo-divine soul formation realm. The overall strength of the immortal cultivation world was much weaker than it was in the ancient times. But now, facing the invasion of 4 demon emperors, 6 demon kings, and hundreds of demon generals, the immortal cultivator army had won. Everyone knew that they were able to win because of the body-refining pavilion. Pavilion Master Lu alone had annihilated 4 demon emperors. That was an existence that was even stronger than a demon king. Furthermore, after the battle, he still had the strength to chase after the remaining 6 demon kings. Apart from Master Lu, the strength of the other people in the body-refining pavilion was also beyond imagination. The evil true dragon that was dozens of feet long, the demon monkey that transformed into a giant black ape, and the nascent soul realm body cultivator that had amazing magical powers. All of this was an eye-opener for them. Many of the nascent soul realm cultivators on the battlefield even had the thought of changing sections. Human body cultivators had higher combat strength than demons of the same level. With the existence of the body-refining pavilion, they no longer had to fear the demons in this realm. Then, under the command of several pseudo-divine soul formation realm cultivators, the immortal cultivators began to clean up the battlefield. All the demon corpses, storage bracelets, demonic treasures, and other spoils of war were sorted out. And at this time, the bone transformation disciples of the body-refining pavilion came to a place in the demonic fog. Xiao Jin sat on Pan Yan's shoulder, and the other body cultivators stood in a circle, looking forward nervously. A 300-foot-long purple-black demonic dragon crawled on the ground. The flesh on its body was trembling and twisting, like layers of thick liquid surging toward the dragon's head. As the layers of flesh shrank, the thick dragon bones below were gradually revealed. The top of the dragon's head flashed with light, as if it was an incomparably huge demonic treasure. However, its miniature array was very simple, with only one layer of sturdy array. Gradually, the evil and greedy aura mixed with the black liquid of the lavender flesh condensed in the dragon's jaw, gradually revealing 2 tall silhouettes. One of them was 9 feet tall, covered with thick purple-black scales, and the bone spurs on its joints were thicker than ordinary late-stage demon generals. It was the pseudo-demon emperor. His eyes were closed, as if he had fallen into a deep sleep. Suddenly, a burly bald man appeared beside him. His whole body was rolling with an unyielding will, and there were traces of purple-black lightning surging on the surface of his body. It was the great elder of the body-refining pavilion, Hong Yuntian. After a while, the energy fluctuations gradually disappeared. He opened his eyes, and his pitch-black pupils looked at the dumbfounded pseudo-demon emperor's body beside him, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. My half a year of preparation was not in vain. I caught this new pseudo-demon emperor alive. Then, Hong Yuntian waved one hand, and the dragon bones on the ground, as well as the pseudo-demon emperor's body beside him, disappeared. He said calmly, "Xiao Jin and I will enter the demonic fog and count the number of remaining demons. The rest of you will go to the immortal cultivators. Don't let them kill the seriously injured demon generals. Capture them alive if you can. Now, every living demon is a treasure of the body-refining pavilion." "Yes, great elder." Chapter 1380. In the Broken Kingdom, on the vast surface of the Guiyuan River, numerous gigantic Big Dipper battleships floated. They were arranged along the river, each spaced a few hundred miles apart. Together, the 36 battleships ran through the entire Guiyuan River. Tens of thousands of cultivators flew back and forth between the battleship. Most of them were foundation establishment cultivators, but there were also quite a few core formation cultivators. Under the arrangement of the nascent soul cultivators, they built small islands between the Big Dipper battleships in an orderly manner. As time passed, these man-made islands gradually flashed with the light of restrictions. They intersected with each other and connected with the Big Dipper battleships, forming a 1,000-mile-long restriction zone floating on the Guiyuan River. This extremely long and narrow restriction zone ran through the Guiyuan River, from the northern border of the Broken Kingdom to the southern entrance of the Broken Kingdom. It seemed to have divided the Broken Kingdom into two halves. The original Big Dipper 36 formation at the entrance had disappeared, but the formation islands were still there. The cultivators in the distance would occasionally look in this direction with reverence in their eyes. The largest island was very eye-catching. The demonic Yuan Qi on the east and west banks of the Guiyuan River was constantly converging here, forming a funnel-shaped Yuan Qi vortex. The dense Yuan Qi energy was injected into a cave dwelling in the center of the island. In the cave dwelling, a burly man was sitting cross-legged. The thick black and white Yuan Qi halos were surging in from all directions. When they were within 10 feet of him, they all turned into a golden halo and entered his body. This man was the current strongest cultivator in the cultivation world, the owner of the body refining pavilion, Lu Kuan. After an unknown period of time, he slowly opened his eyes. 2 rays of golden light with a violent aura flashed in his eyes. The Yuan Qi halo around him gradually dissipated, turning into pure demonic Qi and spiritual Qi and dissipating. Lu Kuan slowly exhaled. Feeling the replenished blood essence in his body, he sighed. I didn't expect that the Berserk God art could not only greatly increase one's senses and senses, but also accumulate blood essence in the body. This energy can only be released after 10 breaths of time after the Berserk God art is used. When I tested this divine ability in the North Pole Mountain, I only maintained it for 10 breaths of time. Moreover, I didn't have enough blood essence, so the energy didn't come out. That's why I felt like I hadn't had enough. Why don't we call this accumulated bloodline energy Berserk Force? With its support, my physical strength has doubled, reaching the level of 4th Yuan. Thinking of this, Lu Kuan's eyes flashed with fear. 4th Yuan force is truly terrifying. Although I can only unleash one attack, my current physical body is still unable to withstand it. Compared to back then when I forcefully unleashed 1st Yuan force, the risk is several times greater. At that time, when Lu Kuan unleashed his berserk power, his Zongyuan stage body felt as if it would explode at any moment. If it weren't for his quick reaction and stabilizing himself with several methods, he would have been smashed to pieces before he could even attack. When the berserk power erupted, his internal organs, bones, muscles, and blood were all under a great burden. Lu Kuan's internal organs had been tempered by various spiritual shockwaves. In addition to his breakthrough in the Zongyuan stage, he was able to withstand the dual Yuan force. However, in the face of the terrifying 4th Yuan force, he relied on the upgraded Snow Soul dual blades to barely stabilize himself and not collapse. Due to the silver dragon meteorite iron in his body, his bones were tougher than a normal body cultivator's. It was the part of his body that had the least pressure. As for his muscles and blood, Lu Kuan used the inspiration of his breakthrough in the middle stage of bone change to compress his physical body's source strength. With the same invisible force of 4th Yuan force, he squeezed his muscles and blood inwardly, preventing them from collapsing immediately. Therefore, when the Berserk Divine ability unleashed this 4th Yuan force, there was only a thin layer of the source force field. Even so, after he forcefully unleashed the vibrating origin palm, his muscle fibers and blood vessels still burst. Fortunately, after putting away the Berserk Divine ability, the broken muscle fibers and blood vessels could be quickly repaired through the transformation of flesh and blood. It didn't affect his subsequent combat effectiveness. The pressure that appeared between heaven and earth at that time should be the power of the realm, as if it wanted to squeeze me out of this realm. Lu Kuan recalled the words of the several demon emperors and the terrifying pressure that appeared between heaven and earth at that time, revealing a thoughtful look. The single Yuan force is the power of the early stage demon emperor, the dual Yuan force is the middle stage demon emperor, and it has reached the limit of this realm. The fourth Yuan force has exceeded the limit of the realm and reached the level of the late stage demon emperor. In that case, every small realm of the demon emperor is double the power gap. Then is the strength gap of the three small realms of the orthodox divine transformation stage the same? If I ascend to the upper realm, my normal strength is equivalent to the middle stage demon emperor, and my combat effectiveness is higher than the middle stage divine transformation stage. If I use the berserk divine ability, I can fight against the late stage divine transformation stage. Even if I can't win, I can protect myself. At this moment, he suddenly thought of a problem. The single Yuan force, dual Yuan force, and four Yuan force respectively correspond to the early, middle, and late stage demon emperor. By analogy, every small realm of the divine transformation stage should have a strength gap of twice, which is much higher than the small realms of the core formation and nascent soul stage. The gap between the void refining stage and the divine transformation stage must be far greater than that of the divine transformation stage and nascent soul stage, the void refining stage. He couldn't help but murmur. Where will the void refining stage of the body cultivator be? The origin force of the body appeared in the bone transformation stage, and the bloodline primordial spirit was formed in the Zongyuan stage. What special changes will there be when it is equivalent to the void refining stage? Lu Kuan's hands couldn't help but clench into fists. Although the path of body refinement after the Zongyuan stage was dark, his eyes shone with a scorching golden light, as if illuminating the dark path of body refinement ahead. After a while, he slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and thought about his current situation. According to the information left by Senior Li Beiyuan in the North Pole Mountain, after the Yuan sect ascended, the limit that this realm can accommodate is the middle stage of the divine transformation stage. My current strength is equivalent to the middle stage of the demon emperor, which is equivalent to the middle stage of the divine transformation stage. I am already at the limit of this realm. Even if I deduce the cultivation method of the Zongyuan stage, under the suppression of the power of this realm, I can't enter the middle stage of the Zongyuan stage. With the strong defense of the body and the origin force field distorting the power of space, it shouldn't be a problem to pass through the reverse spirit channel. However, I am only 540 years old and have a sufficient lifespan. To be safe, I should cultivate to the peak of the early stage of the Zongyuan stage and arrange everything in the body refining pavilion. It would be best to cultivate more than 2 Zongyuan body refining cultivators before ascending to the upper world. Thinking of this, he waved one hand and 10 demon corpses appeared on the ground in front of him. 4 demon emperors and 6 demon kings were all lying there quietly. Between the gaps of the scales on the surface of each demon corpse, there were flashing golden threads, which were full of violent intent. They were like fishing nets that trapped these strong corpses. It was not in vain that I borrowed the power of the 4 elements to forcibly use the vibrating origin palm. The corpses of these demon emperors are still considered intact. He looked at the demon emperor with the strongest physique, and a smile appeared on his face. The flesh spirit is simply the nemesis of the demon race. Even if this demon emperor swallowed the souls of the other 3 demon emperors, there was no way to resist the violent bloodline origin spirit. His soul was imprisoned in his internal organs. As for the other 6 demon kings, only 2 of their origin spirits and nascent souls were destroyed. The rest were sealed by the flesh spirit. At the Zongyuan stage, the suppression of the higher realm of body refining on the lower realm is much stronger than I imagined. Apart from these high-level demons, the biggest gain should be this. Lu Kuan stretched out his hand and two miniature nascent souls wrapped in golden armor appeared in front of him. Humph, 5 spirits temple 2 venerables. If it was not for the fact that Lu was not confident to face the invasion of the demon race alone, he would have killed you 80 years ago. You probably didn't expect that the flesh-bone armor could not only strengthen your physical defense, but also protect your nascent souls. Moreover, as long as I extract the berserk primordial spirit from within, the demonic spirit primordial chi within the blood origin will violently clash and produce a terrifying destructive power. Once you wear my flesh and bone armor, your life and death will no longer be under your control. When the 6 demon kings attacked and broke the defense of the false divine transformation realm, under the control of the bloodline origin spirit, more than half of the flesh-bone armor of Fire Spirit Venerable and Ice Spirit Venerable were hidden in the corpses of the 2 false divine transformation realm experts. After their corpses were destroyed by the demon kings, the remaining flesh-bone armor took the opportunity to enter their nascent souls and suppress their origin spirits with the powerful violent bloodline origin spirit. After they were swallowed by the demon kings, they were used as mediums to control the corpses of the 2 demon kings. At the Zongyuan stage, with the help of the powerful bloodline origin spirit, Lu Kuan's flesh-bone armor and the flesh spirit Venerable's flesh spirit origin spirit could unleash terrifying abilities. Although condensing the flesh-bone armor consumed a lot of his bloodline origin spirit, due to his 9-star physique and dual-attribute willpower, his origin spirit could recover very quickly. Looking at the 2 nascent souls that seemed to be asleep, the corner of Lu Kuan's mouth slightly raised. With these 2 nascent souls and Wu Wenshuan's demon nascent soul, Yin Er's chances of breaking through to Metal Elite Zombie have increased by a lot. Chapter 1381. Several months later, the formation on the Guiyuan River was completed. 36 Big Dipper battleships and 108 man-made islands resonated with each other, forming a black and white mist in the sky that soared into the clouds. The seal on the Yuan sect was gone, and the strange demonic mist of the demon race was working. The western part of the demonic mist was filled with demon chi, while the eastern part was filled with pure spirit chi. Looking from the sky, the black and white mist seal above the Guiyuan River divided the country into 2 distinct black and white regions. At the northernmost part of the Guiyuan River, a large amount of icy water flowed out of the countless ice cracks. The water fell on the surface of the river 1,000 feet below, creating clouds of cold mist that intertwined with the black and white mist in the sky. In the sky above the river, 7 cultivators floated in the black and white mist. The leader was Lu Kuan, the owner of the body refining pavilion. The remaining 5 pseudo-soul formation realm cultivators and Abbot Ji Yuan were behind him. Fairy Beihan held a jade plate in her hand. As she cast spells, a few ice islands on the river lit up with light blue light. She heaved a sigh of relief and said, "Master Lu, the last 3 islands are fine. The seal on the Guiyuan River has been completed. It has divided the broken country into 2 regions, the east and the west." Lu Kuan nodded and said, "From now on, the region to the west of the Guiyuan River will be called the Realm of Shattered Demons and the east will be called the Realm of Shattered Spirits." Then, he glanced at the crowd and said, "The Realm of Demons belongs to the Body Refining Pavilion. It is where the Body Refining Pavilion keeps the demon race. If the other demon sects want to explore the Realm of Demons, they will have to ask for permission from the Body Refining Pavilion." The other pseudo-soul formation realm cultivators didn't have any objections. They didn't need the resources of the Realm of Demons. Even if Lu Kuan gave them the resources, they wouldn't dare to take them. There were still many demon generals in the Realm of Demons. If another demon king appeared, Only the body refining pavilion had the power to take him down. Lu Kuan looked at the black and white fog restriction in the sky and continued. The Guiyuan River is the border between the realm of shattered demons and the realm of spirit. The 36 Heavenly Dipper battleships can only be controlled by sects with divine transformation realm cultivators so that they can pass down the method of activating the Heavenly Dipper 36 formation. The remaining 108 islands will be managed by the 36 most powerful sects in the cultivation world. Aside from the Arctic mountain range, the rest of the resources in the realm of shattered spirit can be developed by these 36 sections. What do you think? The few pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators thought carefully and nodded in agreement. I have no objections. No sect would refuse to guard the borders of the demon realm in exchange for resources from the spirit realm. Abbot Zhiyuan hesitated for a moment before saying, Master Lu, if there is a demonic sect among these 36 sects, Lu Kuan said with a serious face, you all saw how Wu Wenshuan was killed by a fake fiend emperor. A soul formation demon cultivator is almost defenseless against a fiend king. Also, the number of Yuan jade pendants is limited and the method of making them has been lost. In order to prevent the fiend souls from infiltrating the borders, the 36 sects will not allow any demonic sects to exist. If the demonic sects want to develop, they can become a subordinate sect of the body refining pavilion. We will provide them with exquisite demonic arts so that they can control the dangerous path of demonic cultivation. Abbot Zhiyuan was about to say something, but in the end, he heaved a sigh. As for the other pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators, none of them had any objections. As for how to determine the ranking of the 36 sects, send the disciples to discuss it. Then, Lu Kuan turned to look at the land that was filled with spatial rifts and sighed with emotion. He sighed and said, after the war between the infernal insects and the fiend race, many islands and continents have disappeared. According to Beihan Ferry, the other side of the far north is where the real battle between the immortal cultivators and the fiend race took place in the ancient times. Just like the Great Whirlpool, that place is not suitable for humans to live. The only real habitat for humans is the land under our feet. The far north, the Broken Nation, the Great Zhou Dynasty, the southwest and the 13 countries of Dongyun. Other than this land, the rest of the realm of cultivation is the ocean. The pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators listened attentively. They knew all this, but they didn't understand why Lu Kuan mentioned it. Abbot Zhiyuan's eyes flashed with understanding. Lu Kuan continued, according to Lu's estimation, the area of the ocean is at least 10 times larger than the land. Then, he turned around and looked at the pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators and said, so, Lu wants to announce the new method of making artifact spirit roots developed by the body refining pavilion. The core material is not fiend cores, but monster cores. Gu Deming and the other soul formation cultivators were shocked at first, but then they were surprised. A method of making artifact spirit roots out of thin air? Replace it with monster cores. The ocean is vast and the number of sea monsters below level 8 is shocking. Those sea monsters are not intelligent and they don't belong to the sea monsters. Even if we kill them, they won't interfere. This solves the problem of the material for artifact spirit roots. When they received the method of making fiend cores and artifact spirit roots, they had already guessed it. However, the method of making artifact spirit roots was related to the body refining art, and they didn't have enough conditions to study the feasibility of making monster cores. They didn't expect that Master Lu would release it directly. Lu Kuan said, Lu wants to announce the method of making artifact spirit roots to the world in the hope of increasing the number of immortal cultivators. Whether those warriors with artifact spirit roots practice traditional cultivation methods or join the body refining pavilion, we won't interfere." He paused and looked up at the sky, murmuring, "The upper world still needs our support. The immortal cultivators must improve their strength quickly. If the humans in the upper world are defeated, I'm afraid the devil race will cross over to the upper world through other means. The invaders might even be races that are more powerful than the devil race." Hearing this, the pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators all fell silent. Through the ancient books and the information shared by Lu Kuan and Hong Yuntian, they knew that the humans in the upper world were going through a terrible war. The Yuan school left many arrangements in order to help the upper world in the immortal cultivators' new cultivation method. Now that they thought about it, the Yuan school succeeded. Master Lu created the body-refining immortal cultivators, which had stronger combat power than the traditional immortal cultivators. "Okay, let's go take a look at the space passage in the demon area." Hearing Lu Kuan's words, the others nodded. This was the question they were most concerned about. After defeating the devil race this time, how long could the space passage last? Then, they all shone with various colors of spiritual light and flew toward the southwest. The demonic mist in the sky above this demonic domain had long since disappeared, but there was still a purplish-black mist several meters above the ground, and it was filled with an aura that made one feel drowsy. The pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators looked around. When they saw the devil race below the demon fog, their eyes flashed with a bit of thoughtfulness. With Master Lu's strength, he could completely destroy the remaining demon fog. Now, he left it here as if to keep the devil race in captivity. The demon fog on the ground was a kind of natural restriction for the devil race. As they flew, Gu Deming and the others suddenly felt the power of space around them become stronger. However, there was still a long way to go before they reached the space passage. While they were puzzled, they couldn't help but look forward with their divine senses. Suddenly, they were stunned. They saw a giant palm print dozens of feet in size floating in the sky far away. It was formed by hundreds of tiny cracks. The strong power of space was surging from it. This palm print, it pierced through space and shattered the void? Did Master Lu make it? Almost at the same time, all the pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators looked at the burly man next to them. Lu Kuan said casually, "That's right." Under Lu's vibrating essence palm, 3 of the 4 devil emperors died and 1 was crippled. The pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators all gasped. They looked at Lu Kuan with horror in their eyes. They guessed that Lu Kuan should have defeated the devil emperors one by one with the special magic of body cultivators. Now, it sounded like he used one move to end the battle. In a trance, everyone came to the bottom of the giant palm. Compared to it, the human body seemed extremely small. The thinnest space crack was as thick as a person's waist. These pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators could even see the blue starlight inside and the swirling space whirlwind. They all thought of a rumor at the same time. In ancient times, as long as the cultivators reached the late stage of the soul formation stage, they could use their own strength to break the void and directly ascend to the upper world without using any space channel. The palm print in front of them had shattered the space of the immortal cultivation world. Did it mean that Master Lu could unleash the power of the late stage of the soul formation stage and could easily ascend to the upper world? Just as this thought flashed through their minds, they suddenly felt their bodies tighten. An invisible force field swept out. The 5 pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators and Abbot Ji Yuan all moved closer to Lu Kuan. Outside the owner of the body refining pavilion, a giant ball of force field suddenly appeared. This distorted oval ball radiated out with the burly body as the core, enveloping everyone in it. Then, this ball of force field shot up and collided with the giant palm print that was emitting a strong space aura. The 5 pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators were still hesitating whether to struggle or not when they saw that the blue space cracks were shattered by the distorted invisible force after colliding with the edge of the ball of force field. Then, this oval-shaped ball of force field rolled back and forth like a rag, wiping the 100-foot-wide palm print clean. Accompanied by a circle of air waves, several pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivators were released by Lu Kuan. They floated in mid-air and looked at the palm print that disappeared without a trace. Their expressions gradually became a little excited. They were not surprised that Lu Kuan could wipe out the space cracks, because the demonic fog was destroyed in this way. What really shocked them was that the other party could actually bring them along with him to crash into the space cracks. Although there was still a lot of space power that penetrated in, with their pseudo-divinity transformation stage cultivation, they could easily resist it. Did this mean that not only did Master Lu have the ability to break the void, but he could also protect others and bring them into the reverse spirit channel to ascend to the upper world together? Chapter 1382. Lu Kuan looked at the excited faces of these pseudo-divine transformation stage cultivators and knew what they were thinking. He shook his head and said, "Don't be happy too early. Although the origin force field that contains dual elemental power can distort the power of space, I don't know how terrifying the power of space in the reverse spirit channel is. Lu is confident because of his strong physical defense. But you guys, even if you have the flesh and bone armor, I'm afraid it's still risky." Mo Qing smiled bitterly and said, "Master Lu, it has been 70,000 years since the Yuan sect ascended. The last cultivator who ascended was the Spirit Lord Buddha, who reached the early stage of soul formation. In the past 70,000 years, no pseudo-soul formation cultivator has succeeded. They entered the reverse spirit channel for less than half an hour before their corresponding spirit tablets shattered. If we have the help of Master Lu's 2 divine powers, we at least have a chance of success. As long as Master Lu can protect us, I'm willing to exchange anything I can." Us too. Taoist Songfeng and Shuebihua of the 13 countries of Eastern Cloud were even more excited. The 2 of them had researched some kind of secret method and tried to break through to the orthodox soul formation, but they failed in the end, which caused their strength to be greatly reduced after leaving the 13 countries of Eastern Cloud. If they could ascend to the upper world and cast spells with the help of the pure essence Qi of heaven and earth, they were confident that they could reach the early stage of soul formation. Fairy Beihan recalled the words left by the founder of her sect in the North Pole Mountain. Senior Li Beiyuan was originally at the mid-stage of soul formation, but after being eroded by the turbid essence Qi, his cultivation fell to the early stage of soul formation. Even so, this senior was not confident that he could pass through the reverse spirit channel. She took a deep breath and said, "Me too." Gu Deming also looked at Lu Kuan with excitement. He was the youngest. If he could ascend to the upper world and become an orthodox soul formation cultivator, he might have a chance to reach a higher level. At this moment, these people were actually rejoicing in their hearts. The 2 venerables of the 5 spirits temple had fallen in the great battle of the demon clan. Otherwise, with the addition of these 2 people, the origin energy field ball would be too crowded, and Master Lu would not be able to bring so many people. As for Monk Zhiyuan, he placed his palms together and said, "Now that we have the Guiyuan River, with the help of the restrictive power, the pure demonic spiritual vital Qi is gradually converging above the river surface. I would like to try to break through to the divine transformation realm." Furthermore, I'll see if I can incorporate the body tempering techniques that Master Lu announced into my Buddhist technique. I'm not in a hurry to ascend. Seeing everyone's reaction, Lu Kuan smiled and said, "This matter is not urgent. Let's first investigate the situation of the demon race's spatial channel." With that said, he took the lead and flew forward. The other pseudo-divine transformation realm cultivators hurriedly followed. After a while, they arrived at the space tunnel of the Devil Clan. It was still shrouded in the devil mist, but the illusion restriction spell inside was greatly weakened. It could no longer block the divine consciousness of the semi-god realm. A city made of black stones entered their sight. However, this city was in a dilapidated state, as if it had been destroyed by someone. Some of the devils who were still in the city, after sensing the divine consciousness of the semi-god realm cultivators, all fled in horror. Lu Kuan did not pay attention to those devils. Instead, he looked at the square near the spatial channel. There was nothing but a pile of gravel on the ground. He chuckled and said, "Brother Hong has been here once. He destroyed the devil restriction spell here to prevent those devil generals from communicating with the upper world through some means." Everyone was enlightened. They had heard from their disciples that there was an evil devil dragon with an unyielding will on the battlefield. It might have something to do with the mysterious Grand Elder of the Body Refining Pavilion. Everyone passed through the devil mist and landed on the ground in front of the spatial channel. Looking at this huge channel that was like a small valley, they could see the swirling spatial turbulence and dense devil chi surging inside. This is the secret skill that Brother Hong passed down from the Yuan sect. Lu Kuan took out a few jade slips. He threw them out and said, "According to the method on these slips, you can calculate the weakening of the spatial storm and how long the turbulence will last." Looking at the other semi-god realm cultivators receiving the jade slips, Lu Kuan sighed in his heart. After he entered the Zongyuan stage, although the blood origin, an energy similar to the Dharma power of the immortal cultivators, appeared in his body, he still could not use the immortal cultivators' Dharma spells. He could not even use the low-level Dharma spells below the core formation realm. The blood origin was like a new kind of energy that was not suitable for the traditional immortal cultivator's field. He might have to create a new Dharma access to unleash its true power. After a while, Emo Ching frowned slightly and said, "Master Lu, this secret skill requires continuous use of true essence. Also, we have to be in the spatial crack. This is the channel of the Devil Clan. Lu Kuan waved his hand and interrupted, "That's easy. Let's test the strength of the spatial storm in these portals." While speaking, he stretched out his hand. Clouds of golden blood gushed out from his palm, mixed with a violent bloodline energy. The blood quickly solidified and gradually formed a golden bone ball the size of a watermelon. The surface of the bone ball was outlined with strange double helix runes. Put your primordial spirit in it. If you only use it at the entrance of the spatial tunnel, Lu's flesh and bone armor should be able to protect your primordial spirit. Who wants to try it first? I'll go first. Perhaps Mo Qing was tempted by the prospect of ascension or something else. He immediately stepped forward. His hands flashed and a small yellow ball gushed out of his body, exuding a mocking will and true essence. The golden bone ball opened a hole and took in the primordial spirit ball. Then, under the control of Lu Kuan, it flew into the spatial tunnel ahead. As soon as it entered the spatial tunnel, a blue whirlwind rushed over. The terrifying spatial force collided with the golden bone ball, producing golden blue sparks. The next moment, the primordial spirit ball seemed to teleport. It crossed 1,000 feet in an instant and turned into a small golden dot. Lu Kuan raised his eyebrows and said, as expected of a spatial tunnel, "Just a little forward and there's an illusion of spatial disorder. Mo Qing, hurry up and cast a spell. Lu won't be able to control it any further." "Okay." Mo Qing closed his eyes and began to operate the Yuan sect's secret method through the primordial spirit in the spatial tunnel. Everyone could vaguely see that the golden dot was making hand seals one after another, causing the blue spatial energy to ripple. After about a quarter of an hour, Emo-Ching opened his eyes and said, "Master Lu, the investigation is complete." Lu Kuan nodded. Through his primordial spirit, he called back the primordial spirit ball made of blood. When it returned, the primordial spirit ball seemed to be flying slowly. It was completely different from its previous rapid teleportation. Soon, the primordial spirit ball flew out and landed in front of everyone. The originally smooth surface of the primordial spirit realm bone ball was now covered with marks that seemed to have been cut by a sharp blade. The few pseudo-god realm warriors who knew about Lu Kuan's defense were shocked. The primordial spirit of Emo-Ching flew out of the primordial spirit ball and merged into his body. This pseudo-god realm warrior of the Blue Cloud sect said, "According to the feedback of the spatial force, the turbulence inside should last for another 600 years. He paused and said, "However, the intensity of the spatial storm in the spatial tunnel is much stronger than what the Yuan sect recorded. The next time the Devil King teleports, he won't be able to send so many." Hearing this, Lu Kuan thought for a while and said, "Everyone, try it." Then, the other pseudo-god realm warriors cast the spell in the same way and got the same conclusion as Emo-Ching. Lu Kuan's expression relaxed a lot. He said, 600 years is enough for the strength of the world of cultivators to reach a higher level. The Devil Realm shouldn't know about the war of the Devil race yet. Next time, we can set up an ambush in advance." The pseudo-god realm warriors around nodded in agreement. Then, their eyes fell on the somewhat broken golden primordial spirit ball in front of Lu Kuan. This ball had entered the spatial tunnel 5 times, but it was still intact. It was obvious that its defense was amazing. Lu Kuan smiled and said, "After the experiment in this spatial tunnel, Lu's flesh-bone armor and origin energy of his body should be able to greatly improve your defense against the spatial force. However, Lu won't ascend so soon. He needs to cultivate the next generation of body cultivators at the Zongyuan stage. By the way, the flesh-bone armor and the origin energy field that distort space can be used by body cultivators at this stage. It doesn't have to be Lu. Let's go." After saying that, his figure flashed and shot toward the Guiyuan River. The others followed closely behind. They were all thinking about what price they should pay in exchange for the protection of Ascension. Lu Kuan was also thinking as he flew. He deliberately let these pseudo-god realm warriors know that body cultivators at the Zongyuan stage could be protected during Ascension. This meant that the future pseudo-god realm warriors of other immortal cultivation sects would have to rely on high-level body cultivators if they wanted to ascend. In this way, the body refining pavilion's position in the world of cultivators would become unshakable. Although the Devil Race's spatial tunnel can still be quiet for 600 years, I don't have much time left. Lu Kuan felt a little helpless. Ever since he used the quaking Yuan palm of the 4th elemental force, he felt a faint repulsive force in this world. This repulsive force gradually strengthened as time passed. At most, in 300 or 400 years, he would have to leave this world under the suppression of the spatial force. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.